Welcome to The Backlash, a weekly exploration of America's awakening. I am your very vexed co-host, Rebecca Hargraves.
Oh, you're vexed.
Dave likes to chide me 4 seconds before the show starts. It's very annoying. Joined as always by Mr. Dave Riley. How are you doing, Dave?
What are we talking about tonight? I didn't look at the show notes.
Are you serious?
I helped you write them. What are you talking about? I know what's going on.
We had a pre-production meeting. I am 100% sure that Dave has looked through all of the show notes.
I'm somewhat aware of what we may or may not be discussing at some point.
Do you know who has not looked through the show notes but will contribute more than either of us to the show?
Cameron,
how are you doing?
I looked at the show notes.
Allegedly.
Good to see you, Cam. You can find us on X at Real Backlash, our website, thebacklash.net. Support us on subscribestar.com/thebacklash, patreon.com/thebacklash. Send your super chats that will be read live, $10 and up, to my YouTube channel where you may or may not be watching, or thebacklash.net/super chat. Follow us on our YouTube channel. That is at Real Backlash, our Rumble channel, Backlash Podcast. We need to get those numbers up, so please do follow us over there. Follow us on Instagram, where you can find all of our reels. That is real.backlash, TikTok at BacklashPod. All of our links are on thebacklash.net/subscribe. Thank you for joining us today, and a big thanks to our sponsors. We have Above Time Coffee Roasters. That is small batch, delicious coffee that I would be drinking right now if it wouldn't interrupt my sleep. 3 o'clock, it's a little bit too late for me. We have Idaho Tallow, that is skincare without endocrine disruptors. Antelope Hill, publishers of white positive literature. And who else?
Atlas Bullion.
Who is down for maintenance. They'll be back.
They had, I hope that there was somebody from this channel that got in on it, but they were selling silver under spot this week. There was a glitch in the silver pricing. And so I don't know how much it was, if it was 40 or 50 bucks an ounce. But a couple people got in on it and scooped that up, scooped up a bargain. So they will be back. They will be back with some more deals and some more silver.
Did I get all the sponsors? Is that everyone?
Well, you didn't. And it's interesting because today is officially the first day of our sponsorship deal with ODGG Supply. That's odggsupply.com. At ODGG Supply, they are our preferred source for legit domestic and foreign military surplus. It's gear that's been proven in conflicts across the globe and ready for the next adventure. The guys at ODGG Supply put the gear through its paces so you can count on having a quality kit the next time that you're in the field, using gear from all over Europe in the Cold War to modern U.S. military from the global war on terror. From blankets to rucksacks, tools to clothes, ODGG Supply, more than any other military surplus store, focuses on the functional gear that you need to thrive in the field. So please follow ODGG on YouTube at PNW Gorilla and X, PNW Gorilla, and on Instagram at ODGG_supply for the latest updates on sales and newish inventory. And if you use promo code Backlash25, you will get free shipping on all U.S. orders. So if you have got somebody in your life that likes to go hunting, that needs to get prepped or whatever, you can go make a very heavy order and not pay for the shipping.
Nice.
So go to odggsupply.com. And thank you for partnering with the Backlash.
Under banter, I have 60th anniversary of Vatican II.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But first, we have mail. We have some mail.
Is it from the kid again?
No, but I'll let you take a look. It is a beautiful.
Did you vet this?
I just made sure that there wasn't any white powder in there.
Aw, thank you for the donation. Please keep up the great work.
Oh, I think that's halfway through. You got to unfold it.
Whoops.
There you go.
Time to move the pumpkins and show some Christmas decorations and cards. Please keep up the great work that you are doing. Take Dave's advice and stay close to God through Catholic faith. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And the donation and the beautiful card.
Yeah.
Be well,
let me hold
sir.
It up. Let me hold it up. You got it? Here, hold on. I'll zoom in. Oh, it's beautiful.
Lovely. And you can send anything you like, not anything you like. Use your discretion.
Drugs, guns, money.
Don't do that. To our P.O. Box.
P.O. Box 853, Post Falls, Idaho, 83877. And we now have that in the show notes below. So you don't have to
read it on it.
If you're not like vigorously taking notes during the show, you can get to it later. I've also got to give a couple of shout outs. I'm so sorry. It's been gone for like 2 weeks. So anyway, forgive me. Where is it? Did I get rid of it already? I probably did. Hold on. I've got to give a big shout out to, what's her at again?
Oh, cute.
MGM 2997 for the sweaters. Give her a follow. She's a based boomer from here in North Idaho. She knit sweaters.
Did she knit? This looks like crochet.
It might be crochet. I don't know.
That's
beautiful. I don't know the difference between knitting and crochet.
That is crochet.
But it's got like the little handmade leather thing in it. Yeah. And so she got absolutely carried away making these sweaters for my kids. So thank you. And they haven't taken them off in like 3 days. I gave them the sweaters like 3 or 4 days ago.
Good. And now all of us have hand, foot, and mouth disease probably.
Wonderful.
Disgusting.
Absolutely.
Is that all, Dave?
Now, we did that.
Now you have 6 minutes to talk about Vatican II.
Well, hold on. Before we get there, I wanted to put it out there. So if you listen to the show, if you watch the show, I want to know whether or not there is a group of people out there that would be interested maybe in coming with me on a pilgrimage in January. So I'm debating about this. I've done it 4 or 5 times already.
It's a silent pilgrimage.
It is not a silent pilgrimage. I've actually got a little video about it. But it would be to the Centro Histórico of Quito, Ecuador, which is actually the oldest European city center left in the free world, because all of the European city centers in Europe got bombed during World War II, and they no longer exist. So I've got a couple of friends that are leading this pilgrimage down to Quito. It will cost about $2,000 all in for your flight, for hotels, about a week and a half down there, all the food. It's like $8 for a filet mignon down there. And so I want to know if you would be interested in that. Send an email to info@thebacklash.net. I'll play like 60 seconds of this video so you can kind of get a vibe for what this is like.
I'm Father Adam Purdy, and I'm here in Quito, Ecuador, along with a large number of pilgrims from all throughout the world. We are on pilgrimage to Our Lady of Buen Suceso of the Purification. This pilgrimage has a very rigorous schedule, getting up every morning at 5 a.m. for a rosary procession.
Anyway, you get the idea. It's like a bunch of people. They all come down there.
Show me some more of that priest.
You go, hey, watch it.
I don't know what to tell you.
Watch it.
Stop introducing me to so many hot priests, and I'll stop talking about how hot
he
they
is
are.
a handsome priest.
Yes.
He's handsome. Anyway, so if you're interested in that, send me an email. I'm trying to gauge if there's other people out there that would be free. It would be from January 23rd to February 2nd in Quito, Ecuador. I'd have to obviously take off time on the show to do this, which I didn't ask either of you if I could do. But I wanted to see if there's any interest in it. Even if there's like 5 of you that would want to go down, it could be interesting. Okay, now I'm done.
No, now you're going to talk about Vatican II.
Well, it's been 60 years since Vatican II happened.
Is that the whole thing?
That's basically it. It's been 60 years. It's a fucking disaster. Pardon my French. A lot of Catholics out there have been taking issue with my swearing.
I didn't need to allot 6 minutes for you. 7 minutes.
I think I already did. Let me check the time. 11 minutes. We've been going 11 minutes already.
All right, what else do we have in the bands?
Well, that's it. Or 8 minutes. That's it. We had Vatican II's happened for 60 years, and everyone's like, vocations are down. The nuns are gone. What the heck? This is crazy.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to regret this, but for the non-initiated, Dave, why don't you provide a little bit of context?
Okay. Well, so Vatican II, let me see if I can pull it up, just a picture while we're talking about it. Vatican II is an ecumenical council, right? There have been like 20 of these ecumenical councils that have taken place over the 2,000 years of the church. Here's a picture of what it looked like. It started in 1965, or it ended on December 8th, 1965, started in 1963. And basically what's supposed to happen at these councils is that the bishops, together with the Pope, are supposed to come together to like proclaim doctrine and condemn heresy. And this council, this particular council, Vatican II, which happened and ended in 1965, is the very first time ever that the bishops and the Pope got together not to declare dogma, not to condemn heresy, but to issue some sort of weird pastoral council that supposedly doesn't change Catholic theology, it doesn't change practice or teaching or governance or anything like that, but then when you actually look at what happened in the wake of the council, it changed absolutely everything. They changed all of the sacraments. They changed the liturgy. They changed, who is allowed to work in the church. We got women now working in these.
What did they change about
dicasteries.
confession?
Confession? They made it face to face.
Oh.
So that like when you go into the box, normally there's a wall between you and the priest, and you talk through a little grill, and you tell him your sins, and then he absolves you. Well, now all of a sudden it's like you go to confess sitting like this with the priest.
No, I speak behind a screen.
And well, it's not all, maybe at your church, it's fine. But at other churches, it's face to face. And it's like, imagine having to sit there in a room with a priest, a 14-year-old talking about like, oh yeah, well I masturbated. And the priest starts, well, how did you do that? Face to face. And then you wonder why there's this big sex abuse scandal that has, consumed the church. Because there were, protections in place. You're supposed to be physically separated from the priest. Anyway, and so, yeah, we've got, the big three errors that came out from Vatican II were religious liberty, ecumenism, and collegiality or synodality. And we're seeing all of that come into full force with Leo. And I think we're going to talk a little bit more about this on the 22nd with Father Maudsley.
Oh, yes, we are.
So anyway, but I just wanted to note that because that was a big thing that happened a couple days ago. Also, a couple days ago, we had we consecrated our city to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, which is something that in Vatican II, they wouldn't really want you to do. Because this is like, oh, you're putting your religion on everyone else and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, very good.
That's really cool.
Yeah, several hundred of us came out.
Did anybody try to stop you guys?
Absolutely not.
I love Post Falls.
Yeah. It's good. If you're thinking of moving to North Idaho, move to Post Falls. Mm-hmm. It's like Coeur d'Alene's based red-pilled brother.
It is less pretty.
Slightly less pretty.
It is.
We don't have a resort.
Indeed. So
okay, I'm done now. I'm done. The rest of the show is up to you guys.
I'm out of here. That was concise and informative. It truly was. I'm not being facetious. We're going to be talking Fuentes on Piers Morgan, which I keep spelling Pierce because Piers it's not a name. Is it a name? Have you ever? I'm unfamiliar. It's just so stupid. Hexeth, under fire, Ukraine, the meaning of political change, all this and more on your favorite weekly show, nationalist show,
based.
The Backlash.
Let's go.
This Pierce thing, I know this is slop. I know that this is political theater. Academic Agent put out an excellent video likening this to professional wrestling, and it was very good. But I have to say that everybody is talking about it, and it was highly entertaining. And I've had my gripes with Nick over the last few months, but watching Piers Morgan shrivel up and just get his ass handed to him was truly the highlight of my week. Where should we even start with this?
I don't know. We could start with this
Holocaust Nick.
with this first clip.
Sure.
30 seconds in. Yeah. All right, let's dive right into it.
Religion, and it is treated like a religion. It is treated like a religion with dogma, with blasphemy laws, and that secular religion says, and you say that's a crock of shit. It's intentional. It's called The Open Society by Karl Popper. It's by these architects of the liberal order after World War II. They got together and they said, how can we make sure that Hitler never happens? How can we make sure that totalitarianism never happens again? And they came up with the consensus, which is that we need to take down nations, religions, fathers, the authoritarian personality. We need to be empathetic and altruistic. We need to be diverse and pluralistic. And that experiment isn't, and I'll tell you the truth right now, and you can laugh at this, you can scoff at this. Our people are being genocided in our country. 50% of the live births in the United Kingdom and in the United States are non-white. In 100 years, my ancestors, your kids who are so empathetic and compassionate, they're going to be a minority. They're going to be a minority in maybe a Muslim country, an Indian country, an Hispanic country. And these Jewish people that are 100 years old talking about my grandparents and the Holocaust, they don't care about that. Actually, they like to see it. At the SPLC, they're literally counting down the days until whites are a minority in America. So forgive me if I don't believe them when they talk about compassion. There's a genocide going on right now. It's not against the Jews.
How many Christians are there?
Gaza, it's against
How many
whites.
Christians are there in the world?
So
1 point some billion.
This was preempted by Piers Morgan bringing on a clip from deploying his Finkelstein friend to talk about how a bajillion of his relatives were made into lampshades or whatever.
Me mom.
Me mom in the holy.
But me mom was in the holy. Bro.
Thinking that it was going to be some kind of nuclear bomb on Nick's argument, which is so hilarious. The juxtaposition between the boomer legacy media mindset being like, well, how do you think this makes people feel? How do you think this makes black people feel? And Nick's like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care at all. And he really thought that this was going to be a knockout.
Well, and it would have been for like a boomer, you know, because they use the Holocaust, they use all of these things, Jim Crow in the South, they use it as like an idol that you have to bow down to. And up until now, everybody has bowed down. So as soon as you bring it up and you mention, oh, my grandfather had a tattoo, it's like, oh, geez, oh, I can't, you know, whatever. And it's supposed to like, you know, wash away. Like this is what Nick was talking about, by the way. Mark Potok, the senior director at the Southern Poverty Law Center, no longer, I think he got fired, but he was counting down the white population in America as if it was a good thing. You know, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like this does not like the Holocaust or whatever happened does not give you free reign to destroy our country. And I think we're starting to get to this breaking point where things like this is going to become more normal.
I think we're there. I saw a breakdown by my best friend Grok about responses to this, and it seems that Nick has overwhelming support. I barely saw anybody.
He didn't even shift the Overton window. He burned down the Overton house, the Overton block. The whole neighborhood is gone.
Let's pull up this one of this next one, Hitler Nick. Is what I have it labeled as.
I have this one where it's like, now ask him if he thinks Hitler is cool. Perfect. Now deploy the Finkelstein. It's like, what's that movie? The Truman Show or whatever?
Yeah, it is the Truman Show.
Yeah, here's the clip. Let's see. Oh my God.
You think Hitler was very fucking cool?
Yes, I do.
One of them.
And I'm tired of pretending he's not.
Well,
to be honest,
this is the problem. You see, it's a bit like when you just say, "I'm a racist." You're a racist who thinks Hitler's cool, but you're not anti-Semitic. If you're a Jewish person watching this, what are they thinking?
well, who cares? That's Nick's point. I think that the old guard here doesn't know how to interact with younger audiences that, as we've talked about ad nauseum, have no economic opportunities, have fewer opportunities for relationships and marriage. And they're like, oh, you're going to call me racist and cancel me like I care? He looked dead in the face of Piers Morgan and was like, I am racist.
Yep.
What other clips did you want to play?
Well, there was a moment where Nick was like, they were asking, and he's like, well, why do you think Hitler is cool? And Nick just goes like, the clips. And so somebody put it together where, you know, they mashed it up. So this is what he's talking about. Okay. For those of you that are not on X or seeing what's going on.
He murdered 12 million people. He murdered 12 million people. What is very fucking cool about that? Tell me.
The edits.
It's Groper's year to shine.
Yep.
I think the most frustrating part of the whole debate, though, was this wasn't really a debate in a true sense.
No.
But they had a discussion about black crime, and Pierce deliberately tried to act like he doesn't have understanding of per capita.
Right.
It was so annoying. I was listening to it because you know he's lying. He's an intelligent guy, and he was trying to say the proportion of school shooters that are white are 60%. And Nick kept saying over and over, like, yeah, but what proportion of white people are school shooters? And he just would not answer the question. It's like, you know what we're talking about. You know that black people commit more violent crime. At this point in time, how could anybody be denying this? I felt like I was kind of back in 2016. Like there was no substance to any of this. I don't think Nick laid anything out that nobody had heard before or really progressed the movement in any way, but he did get a lot of exposure, and a lot of people were rallying behind him, and people like Piers Morgan, who already do not have a lot of credibility, are being just demolished.
Oh, and he's still bitching about it today. Let me see if I can pull up the P-I-E-R.
See, it's a
How do
retarded
you
name.
spell it? Piers Morgan. Okay. Yeah, he's still bitching about this. I mean, he lost. He lost the whole thing because, in Boomerland, you bring up the Holocaust, you bring up Jim Crow, and it's game over, game, set, match. You have to forfeit your country. We need to eat curry. You need to be replaced. And Nick not bowing down to that and just saying, nah, I'm not playing this game anymore. And it just sends them into a frenzy. And the two real things that Nick did get into was this Holocaustianity thing, right? Because the Holocaust has become like a religion now. It's a religion. Golgotha is replaced by Auschwitz.
Absolutely.
The cross is replaced by the gas chamber. The Savior Jesus Christ is replaced by the Jewish people. The Roman soldiers are replaced by the SS. It's almost a perfect mirror image of Christianity, except there is no God, there is no Jesus, there is no salvation, there is no redemption, and it has blasphemy laws at this point, right? And so Nick coming up there, being an iconoclast and tearing that down, I think that's like a massive W.
Oh, of course,
for absolutely everybody.
I'm seeing a lot of criticism on his Holocaust take. Like my mom was so pissed off. She's like, what is he talking about with this 6 million? And
7 million.
And then this
8
morning
million.
she comes in to get the baby and she goes, my 67-year-old mother goes, was Nick actually Holocaust maxing? I was like, what weird world do I live in right now where my mom is more chronically online than I am? And I was like, yes, mother, he was Holocaust maxing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. He denied the Holocaust by supplying more.
It could
more
be
numbers.
7 million.
It could be 10 million. Who knows?
Yep.
But then the other thing that he really got at, though, was the sexual revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's another kind of sacred cow of boomers, that men and women are equal, that women need the right to vote, that they are just like the same as men. They're totally interchangeable. And Piers, who claims that he's Catholic, even went on to say that, women should be ordained to the priesthood.
Retarded.
And Nick said no. And it has driven Piers so insane and so crazy that he is out here 2 days later still posting about Nick. Like, this was 2 hours ago. I think he just made fun of him like an hour ago. Yeah, all groypers are sexually repressed virgins or just their spiritual leader, right? I mean, he can't get over the fact that Nick Fuentes is saving himself for marriage, that he's practicing abstinence, that he is encouraging his followers to practice abstinence and to wait until marriage. And to boomers, this is like a big spit in their face that you don't accept the free love, the sexes are equal bullshit. And it's just incredible, especially considering the fact, as it's come out in the subsequent days, that Piers Morgan
totally
is
cucked.
Literally a cuck. Look at this clip.
Just nip back. I went home.
Who let you
did the
in?
housework. My normal Monday. Do a bit of work and then some proper work at home. Domestic engineering.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. That's excellent.
How's it going then?
Very well, thank you.
Has
Very
she
well.
told you I'm a feminist?
Yes, well, you said you are. You are. We were just saying how the word, people sometimes get really confused now, but when I was little, it was just all about equality.
Well, you know what it is? I'm surrounded by strong women.
Yeah,
Right?
oh.
Celia to Susanna and Charlotte Hawkins, and my mum and my grandmother was incredibly strong. And I just don't get this whole...
He's so gay.
Yeah, and then his wife's Instagram is littered with pictures of her with other men.
Look at this. They're like reading a book called Huge Penis.
That man's a homosexual, to be fair.
Well, but still, it's like, this is like one of many. I think Wurzelroot, big shout out to Wurzelroot on X. He's the one that kind of brought all of this. Let me see if I can find some. Yeah, like look at this. This is Piers Morgan's wife.
Oh my God.
Posting these goofy photos with other men.
Yikes.
Look at this. Look at this guy. Bro.
Yeah.
So anyway, Piers Morgan has been destroyed.
So they're just going to deploy new tactics to tarnish Nick's reputation. Initially, it was the Nick is a Fed thing.
No, they're just going to keep recycling all the same old stuff. Nick is gay. He's a Fed. He's this. He's that.
Can you bring up this Network Contagion Institute report?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for reminding me about that, actually. I'm the one that put that in the show notes, and I totally forgot. Yeah, we had this group called the Network Contagion Research Institute, which is basically a rebrand of the Anti-Defamation League. That is, they were out here talking about Christ is King. They were writing all these reports about COVID denialism and COVID vaccine trutherism or whatever. And now they've got a report claiming that Nick Fuentes' audience is botted from like Nigeria or something. I don't really know. What does it say? And basically, the reason why they're pissed is because, when you're on X, right? Like, let's say I go to AF Post. You see right here, there's this little bell. You can click the bell, and it turns on notifications, right? So you get notified instantly when they tweet. And so all of Nick's followers have gone on X. They click the bell. They get the notification. So Nick will say ratio to Piers Morgan, and all of his people immediately go and they like it, they retweet it.
Groypers are massive in number, and they're wildly diligent. That's what people don't understand.
They're very smart.
And they're smart, yeah.
High agency people.
Let's talk about what this means. So we've talked about this for months. There's obviously been a shift in the media that has allowed us to voice opinions that would have been just shocking even 5 years ago. Does this represent a real shift into the abyss? I mean, does this really mean anything for the political movement? So, Cameron, do you think that the dissident right has actually gone mainstream, or are these just theatrics to appease us? You look unimpressed.
I'm usually unimpressed. Look, is it something? Is it nothing? Is it everything? It's definitely something. And as you can tell, and our audience is not exclusively American. We have Europeans that watch our show. I have personally spoken to some Aussies, New Zealanders, Brits, and others that watch our product. And you have to understand that their palate is different than Americans. We like trash TV. We like to see people savage one another. That's one of the reasons why Piers Morgan was successful in the United States. I would argue more successful here than he was in the United Kingdom, where the culture is simply different. Remember that debate, certainly the spirit of debate really comes from the British public school system. A lot of people think it goes back to ancient Greece. It really doesn't. It comes from Great Britain. And so in that society, there is a high respect for debate. But debate does not necessarily mean just defamation. And that's what we do in the United States. And we conflate defamation with debate and substance. That may or may not resonate with Britons. We'll have to see. I don't know. A lot of the Brits do like Trump, even though he's, I think, clownish himself. So times are changing, and therefore it is something. And there is a shibboleth. There is an icon that's being destroyed, as Dave said, and that is this taboo about the Holocaust, about the Jews, and all the rest of it. And I think people have grown very tired of that taboo. It's certainly done tremendous harm to the Anglo world in particular. Anglo is the right term. To understand where we are in the world today, you really need to fixate on Great Britain. Because without Great Britain, there would have been no World War I, there would have been no World War II, and there would not have been the Jewish supremacy that exists in the world. It's very important that all of you understand that. Because if you understand that, then you can kind of see a couple things. One is that the Brits, particularly the older generation, they will go down with the ship called the Holocaust for reasons I'm going to explain in just a moment. The second is that the historic center of Jewish power in the Western world, at least since the end of the Napoleonic Wars in 1815, has been Great Britain. And specifically, it's been the city of London. Mm-hmm. It was the city of London where Nathan Rothschild went in the late 1700s, late 18th century, to establish a banking house and eventually to dominate the Bank of England. With that backdrop, let's talk a little bit about World War II. there's a very good speech that was given by Winston Churchill just before World War I. In fact, I'm going to read some of it to you so that you understand what the hell I'm talking about. Before World War I, there was spirited debate in Great Britain about the prospect of fighting a war on the continent. It had been the policy of the empire, more or less, to avoid entanglements in long land war. It didn't mean that the British were not involved. They typically were, but being the island nation that they are, they would involve themselves in clandestine ways, largely not with land forces, in part because they did not have them. And so early in Winston Churchill's career, he strongly opposed a European war. And this is what he said, and it's very important to understand. He said, "It is no longer a game. A European war cannot be anything but a cruel and heart-rending struggle, which, if we are ever to enjoy the bitter fruits of victory, must demand, perhaps for years, the whole manhood of the nation, the entire suspension of peaceful industries, and the concentrating to only one end of every vital agency in the community." I say, sir, at this particular moment in history, we would make a fatal bargain if we allowed a moral force which this country has for so long exerted to become diminished or perhaps destroyed for the sake of a costly, trumpery, dangerous military playthings upon which the Secretary of State for War has set his heart. Now, a couple things about that speech. He was echoing the sentiments of Lord Randolph Churchill, his father, who had basically been forced out of government for urging economy and retrenchment, for demanding fiscal rectitude and not adventures overseas. Well, unfortunately, Churchill changed his mind, and eventually Great Britain plunged into World War I, a war that changed the fate of European peoples the world over. And I'm sure most of you probably know that. That then led to everything that we understand as Bolshevism, socialism, fascism, so forth and so on. And that eventually led to an even worse catastrophe, that being World War II. World War I and World War II destroyed the Victorian age. It destroyed a world dominated by European civilization and culture that more or less controlled 80+% of the world. 80% of the world we dominated in relative peace and harmony too. I mean, there were wars on the continent, but they were largely controlled. And you had a collection of European statesmen that were capable, that were competent, and understood that full-scale war would be devastating, not just to their countries, but to civilization. Nonetheless, those two wars happened. And specifically what they did is they destroyed the British Empire. Gone, up in smithereens. How do you process that? How do you come to terms with that? Well, what the British elites did, after having lost everything, lost the empire, lost a generation, 2 generations of men that were destroyed, dispirited, deranged, those that survived the wars, they bought the Holocaust myth. They said, we're the good guys. We fought the good fight. This is why we engaged in such absolute reckless self-destruction. And it was a lie. It was a fraud. And it was a lie and a fraud that generations of historians in Great Britain in particular have tried to tell the truth about, David Irving being one of them. And David Irving happened to be arrested, went to jail. His life was destroyed. And if you want to learn more about that story, you should look into it. The British elites stand on that lie. It activates all the institutions of power in Great Britain. Now, that is not to say that the middle and working classes, and remember that what's happened in Great Britain is exactly what's happened in the United States, which is exactly what's happened in Australia and New Zealand and Canada. The Anglosphere has all sunk. We've all rotten to the core because of this lie. It would have been better to explain it in those terms, to understand the psyche of the nation with whom you were talking. And remember, my ancestors came from Scotland and Northern England. This was a country seeded by the British Empire. It's the reason we speak English. It's the reason we have a constitution. It's the reason we have private property. It's the reason there is separation of church and state. Virtually everything that we identify as American was repackaged and innovated in some particular way that became American. That is who we are. what's good about that discussion is that in a very haphazard manner, he smashed that piñata. And that's a good thing. It is. It needed to be smashed. And now we're going to have to deal with the consequences of that. Although I would submit, I don't think it's fully dead in Great Britain at all, just as it isn't fully dead in the United States. That all means it's something. But the real pain train, the real transition, the real revolution to come, that will occur when that state descends into some kind of massive civil conflict, probably on the heels of a financial catastrophe that the elites in that country, just as the same in the United States and in Australia and New Zealand and Canada, have engineered. They will go down, but there will be no come to Jesus moment for the older generation. They have stood on that lie since the end of those destructive wars. And unfortunately, that lie is going to have to be set on fire. And at least I can say that was the beginning of that process.
And as we grow further and further from the event, I mean, it's easier to extricate yourself from the lie, especially because so many students are just generally historically illiterate, which makes them more difficult to propagandize. There's a silver lining, right? Yeah. Also, the immigration problem has a silver lining because they don't care about the Holocaust narrative. They don't.
Right. Well, and this is one of the things that's been used, right? It's been used to browbeat us as to like, well, you can't have a country that's not diverse and, monolithic and, monocultural. You're not allowed to have that because the last time we did that, it was the Third Reich and Hitler and the Holocaust happened. And so nationalism bad, and it's just bullshit. That whole narrative is bullshit. The whole event, all of it, there's a really good book. I think we've plugged it on the show before, The Holocaust Encyclopedia by Germar Rudolph. Anybody that's interested in that, definitely pick up a copy. But it's at least starting this discussion, right, of like, was it Majdanek, right? Initially estimated to have 2 million dead at Majdanek. Then it gets revised down to 71,000. From 2 million to 71,000.
Germar's an interesting
then
character.
Then from 71 to 40,000.
He is not a right-wing nationalist.
No, he's not. He's a liberal.
He's a chemist, and that's how he came
He's a chemist and a left-wing liberal.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's the one that like has literally written the book on this thing. And it is really ridiculous that it's illegal over there to question any of this stuff, to talk about the numbers, whatever, But again, the big point is, Nick did it. He talked about it himself. I think there was like a 25-minute segment that's been clipped about the whole thing, about why it's important to disabuse ourselves of the guilt of World War II, that we not only, and especially as Americans, like what fucking guilt do we have? We took these people in. We went and fought against Germany, with Russia, but we don't have any fucking guilt of this thing.
Oh, yeah, we do.
No.
What were we doing? Why did we fight? Why do we engage in these brother wars? I have like generational guilt about that.
Well, yeah. I mean, we shouldn't have been involved in it. The America First Committee with Father Coughlin and Charles Lindbergh, they were right. We shouldn't have been involved. But yeah, it's important because again, all of it goes back to the Holocaust. It all comes back to like, you're not allowed to have your country. You're not allowed to keep out immigrants because it will lead to another Holocaust.
Right. I mean, I want to see more proof and more evidence that this is going to manifest in a tangible way, right? So I like to see that we're talking about it. I like to see that the JQ is entering the modern lexicon. It's happening in normie conversations. My mom is asking me if Nick Fuentes is Holocaust maxing. Like I like to see this, but really what I want to see is are Jews getting worried? Are they becoming concerned that this narrative is collapsing? Now, I'm seeing it a lot from rabbis. I'm seeing it a lot from Orthodox Jews, and the SPLC. They're all kind of freaking out about this anti-Semitism thing. But we have this interesting clip. This is clip 1, if you can pull it up. Now, this guy is talking about Jews going to Israel, and he's posing it as some sort of giant economic opportunity, which is so delusional that I can only believe that he's feeling the heat from a social level, and he's trying to brand this like it's an opportunity for other Jews. Now, I have my concerns about Jews congregating in Israel. That might become a problem. But let's take a listen to, I don't know, we don't have to listen to the whole thing, just until you think we should.
I've got a clip too.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said, can you even say shalom in New York anymore? That's what Miriam said this morning. So just to pick up on that, what I'll tell everybody is skip Miami. If you're leaving New York, just come straight to Israel. There's no reason to make a stop in Florida before you need to come.
You often say that Zionism is economic growth. When we talk about the possibility for 1 million Jews moving to Israel, what is the economic logic behind such a vision, and why is now the right moment?
So first of all, immigration in general always adds to economic growth, except when you bring in, let's call it less qualified immigration. But all immigration to Israel at this point has been contributed to the economy. There's just a study about the billions of dollars that Olim, particularly from North America and Western Europe, have brought to Israel. And I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but they're large. But the Israeli economy is going to go through a transformation now. It's not only going to be high-tech led. We're going to build a finance sector in Israel. That's the first thing that's going to happen. There's new tax laws and regulatory relaxation that's going to happen. And you're going to see, beginning already in Q1, hedge funds get set up in Israel so we can become another capital of finance. I'll argue we will beat London within a short decade as a second capital of finance.
This seems, maybe I'm wrong about this, but this seems incredibly hubristic and delusional, because Jewish people can only be financially successful by subverting the economy of others. If they're all congregated in Israel, what are they going to do? Not to mention that their economy is so heavily bolstered by the United States. Like this doesn't seem like much of a plan.
They're trying to construct an empire.
Yeah.
Right. We had, as Cameron was talking about earlier, we had Pax Britannica, where England ruled the high seas through their superior naval warfare and whatnot. And then World War I, World War II transferred that empire to America. And we got Pax Americana, which is, you know, the what the fuck was it called? The petrodollar and all of this nonsense. And now, I think it was actually Sheikh Imran Hossein, the Muslim guy from Trinidad, that said we're now entering an age of Pax Judaica, where they are trying to take the empire away from America and establish it in Israel. So that seems like what they're trying to do.
Cameron, do you want to comment on this before we move on?
Yeah, I'll just be brief. Look, Theodor Herzl, as we know, launched the Zionist project in the 19th century, and it was largely a failure. And it was a failure because the majority of international Jewry didn't want to leave Europe. So much for the narrative that they were persecuted. Most of the Jews in Europe didn't want to go anywhere. And that's also true for a lot of the Sephardic Jews living in the Middle East. They didn't want to go to Israel either. And it took the Holocaust, frankly. It took cataclysmic events to get people over there. I do think that there is something to what Dave said. I question the viability of a Jewish state. I don't know that it is viable. They've always sort of depended upon the labor, the economic value produced by others. Israel is not a productive state. It is heavily dependent, I would say umbilically dependent on the United States for its military power, its economy, and all the rest of it. And as you said, Rebecca, you're quite right. Financialization is a parasite. Who cares if you're the center of finance, but you produce nothing of value? That's essentially what Israel may become. Look, good riddance. If it comes to that, and all of a sudden they decide to go, good riddance. Let them go there. It may come to that. We'll have to see. I don't know. What I do know is that the Anglo countries, which are the last bastion of true international Jewish power in the West, they're on tilt. And I do think that they're sensing that the political winds have shifted. I think they sense it more acutely than a lot of the other political class that is sort of slavishly devoted to them. I don't think they are aware of it at all. So I guess all that is to say, if it's a magnet because of a shift in the political dynamics in the Western world, so be it. Will it be successful long term? Probably not.
Yeah, and just to kind of follow up on Cam, and then I'm going to derail for a brief moment. It'll be a good deal. Everybody will enjoy it. But to Cameron's point, he's right. He's right that the Zionist idea did not take off. It was not very popular. What they needed was psyops to get the Goyim on board, one of them being this idea of British Israelism. Or Anglo-Israelism, which is this goofy ideology that was foisted upon the royal family and the courts in England in like the late 1800s to the early 1900s, where they were like convincing the British that they were actually like the lost 12th tribe of Israel. And that they had this historical tie to the land as well, which is why, like, you know, dear Lord Balfour, you should give us the land because, like, we're both we're Israelites or whatever, you know.
See, parasitic acquisition.
So, it's very bizarre, but it didn't really, the Zionism thing didn't really take off until this took place. And then you can even look at, you know, in Germany, there were all of these goofy Protestant groups that saw themselves as, you know, having this connection to the ancient Israel thing. And so they would develop colonies in Palestine in the late 1800s as well. And of course, it's like really bizarre, but it is interesting that British Israelism was then like, so British Israelism was this like philo-Semitic, like, oh, look, we're Jews too type of thing that happened. And that got imported by Henry Ford at the Dearborn Independent, but they changed it just a little bit where it's like, yeah, we're the lost tribe of Israel, but like those Jews are fake. And so like they're the spawn of Satan. And that's actually what came to like become Christian identity, which is the ideology of Richard Butler, the Aryan nations, and like most of the Wignat 1.0 movement was actually this like weird bastardized version of British Israelism, where it's like, no, we're the real Jews, we're the true Israelites.
How bizarre.
Yeah, isn't it weird?
True?
Oh, 100% true. And it's interesting because Henry Ford liked the ideology because it made his workers like very productive and cohesive because they started viewing themselves as this like racial unit. Yeah, exactly. So that was super interesting. But
I just want to say three things. Oh, I'm sorry, Dave. Finish your thought.
You're on.
I just want to say three things. One is artificial states don't tend to last, right? We've talked about this before. The most successful city-state in the modern world is Singapore. Singapore was founded by a patriarch named Lee Kuan Yew. Singapore is an ethno-state. It is a Chinese ethno-state, okay? Israel is a bastardized artificial construct, and that's one of the reasons why it's crumbling. Number two, we are here today, ladies and gentlemen, in large measure, not totally, not completely, but in large measure, I would say 80% or more, because of a real Holocaust that's happening in Gaza, where large numbers of people, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, again, I don't know the numbers, but if you look at international AIDS organizations, the numbers are horrific. Large numbers of innocent people have been butchered and murdered in a manner that's undeniable, that's graphic, that's televised, and that has red-pilled, or better said, JQ'd the whole world. That, combined with this new media landscape of which we are a part, has taken that information, has weaponized that information and propagandized it against the propagandists in ways that they were not prepared for, because the rules of the game have changed, because the business model, the technology of the terrain that they once dominated, they no longer control. That's two. Three is something I want to go back to that Fuentes said. So he got part of it right, but he missed something. It is true that the various Jewish schools, and here I'm going to mention three, the Freudians, the Frankfurters, and the Straussians, all of them obsessed about the tyrannical personality type, the authoritarian. That's true, but that in many ways was a mirror image of who they are. In fact, what they were really doing was describing their own idiosyncratic behavior, their own machinations. And that's what we've seen on display in Israel. In other words, they were unmasking themselves unwittingly. And much of the psychobabble that they described was a delusion of their own making. It had nothing to do with the reality of what European peoples were ever about. And to some degree, that was its power, because we actually did have conscience. We did feel bad. We did empathize. We didn't want to brutalize the world, right? We didn't just bring the sword. We brought the cross. We brought civilization. And so to have a group of people say, not only are you a tyrant by nature, but that the essence of your entire civilization is to be this brutal authoritarian, that injured us psychologically. And now that is being turned back on them, and they have been unmasked through their own fault, I might add, right? You reap what you sow. They've done it to themselves, folks.
Absolutely. And I feel like we all still have that empathetic urge. You don't want to close that off because that is such a huge part of the Western spirit. But the only way that we can sublimate it properly is to turn it inward and use it for our own people. It's this pathological altruism that has gotten us into this mess. But I mean, nobody watching this show feels guilty about the Holocaust, surely.
No, and
but this area, real quick, this area, what you just said, Rebecca, this is where you and Fuentes and Vince and the entire alternative media space, what has been done successfully, and I would give full credit to this wellspring of the JQ, right? The red pill community, the Groyper movement. What have they done? What they have done is smashed the psychological guilt, the residue of empathy that was once there, because it is there by default. As you said, Rebecca, we're fair-minded people. That's gone. And what Fuentes did very effectively, what he does very effectively, is he burns down the shibboleths. That's what he did. And that's very good, because as we know, whether it's science or politics, unfortunately, the reality is that progress is made one death at a time. The old guard usually doesn't change their way. You have to have a new guard emerge in its place. We don't have that guilt anymore. Instead, we are disillusioned, particularly about our plight in our own countries. And that is a very good thing. And you guys all deserve tremendous credit for that.
Well, you know, it's not just us that's doing this, though. It's not just us that's red pilling the world on World War II or Hitler.
Is it based Muslims?
No, it's not. It's actually the Jews themselves. So I would like to take everybody for 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I'd like to take you all to shul with me, where we are going to learn a little bit about Hitler.
Who knows the first two laws that Hitler implemented? Who knows the first two laws? Before the Nuremberg laws. Before that, we're talking about years before it. Hitler first comes into power. What's the first two laws? Okay, I'll save you the time. Rule number one, no more pornography. No more homosexuality. None of that garbage. Not allowed. Berlin, in the 30s, in the 20s, was the Sodom and Gomorrah of the day. Homosexuality, pornography, all the bestiality, all the garbage of the world, that was the capital of the world. He outlawed it. You're no longer allowed, closed all the bars, all the gay clubs, all the production, which were all run by Jewish people, unfortunately. Second rule, you're not allowed to charge interest. No more interest. Now you would think, why? What does he care about interest? Well, because all the people that had the money, that lent the money out, were Jews. He said no more interest. Why? Because of the high interest that the Jews charged people was so high, it ruined, it destroyed the economy in Germany. They destroyed, just like they destroyed Russia a few years before that through their communism over there. Jews destroyed Russia, not Goyim. Jews destroyed. Communism is by Jews. Well, don't let anybody confuse you. You look at history, Karl Marx, all the other Reshaim,
He's
they're all
proud.
Jews. Wicked, but nonetheless Jews. They destroyed Russia, and he wrote in chapter 2 of Mein Kampf, they destroyed Russia, now they're destroying Germany. Go to the store to buy bread, you had to take a whole horse carriage full of money. By the time you arrive at the store, it wasn't enough. Why? Because the inflation rate was so high. The bread became so much more valuable and your money went down. And at that time, the Great Depression was happening around the entire world. Everyone was in a financial collapse. America was a financial collapse. England was a financial collapse. Germany collapsed worse than everybody else. But after he passed this law, within 6 years, Germany became the leading, wealthiest economy in the world. They called it a financial miracle. Why? They were the only ones that were bold enough to stop interest. This is one of the biggest reasons of why he hated Jews. Because they destroyed the economy because of their greed. This is happening again.
Why is he making this admission? What is this?
Aren't we? Thank you very much, Rabbi. I
that
appreciate
should be
it.
required viewing in all schools.
Well, that's why I played it. That's why I played it, because everybody should be aware that even in their own closed circles, when the rubber meets the road, they have to talk about what actually happened in Germany and why they had to construct the Holocaust narrative so that nobody can ever look at Hitler or any of the policies of the National Socialists. We're not allowed to go there because they're doing it again, because they are running Wall Street, they're running the media, they're pushing homosexuality, transgenderism. It's happening again.
But all these systems of control are weakening at a rate that they cannot feasibly compensate for. So,
right, it's happening at the same rate that it was happening in Spain, Germany, Italy,
but what is
Romania.
Their plan? I mean,
their plan, I think, is this. That they're going to leave, they're going to go to Israel, and then they're going to pull the rug out from under the American empire. That's what they want to do.
They're going to rug us?
Yeah, well, and this is part of the thing. And it's very confusing, especially for people on our side, because we'll see some Israeli types and some, like I had this interview with this Gilad Katz guy. He was like a former Israeli ambassador. We interviewed him in Chicago. And he's very adamant that he wants an end to U.S. aid to Israel, because the aid comes with strings, because the aid keeps Israel in that parasitic, submissive to what America can always come and say, all right, fuck it, we're not pardoning Bibi, we're going to prosecute all of you people, we're going to have a color revolution in Israel and install a CIA puppet, right? And they don't want that. They want to be able to control their own thing and not get money from us anymore. Because the money that we're giving to Israel is really going to General Dynamics and Lockheed Martin and Boeing and all of these different military contractors. If Israel begins manufacturing their own weapons, if they create their own supply chains through their contacts in South Africa, in China, maybe Russia, I don't know. But if they're able to construct their own supply chains, then no longer can we kind of moderate or control. And that's what they want to get away from, because I think they want the they want the world empire. They want Moshiach. Is this
why they're expanding their power to Latin America?
I think it could be.
Did you see that? That was a masterful transition.
That was a masterful
Very
transition.
Good.
Very true.
I mean, my tendency is to blame the Jews for every domestic and foreign calamity. Just to blame the Jews. But I have to think about why. Why are they probably responsible? I have to try to be unbiased here. So when you sent me this Isaac Accords thing, I was like, no doubt this is connected in some way to this Venezuela fiasco, to the war in Ukraine. Like, all of these things are connected, and Jews are responsible.
And of course, nobody's talking about
no one is
the
talking
Isaac
about
Accords.
this.
No,
When you mentioned this, I had hardly heard
we might be one of the first. What is it, dissident or alt right or whatever kind of podcast we are. We might be one of the first to talk about this.
Can you pull up 3 also?
Not be the last. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so this is from Jerusalem Post. Malay announces launch of Isaac Accords in meeting with Israel's foreign minister. Argentina has formally launched the Isaac Accords, a new initiative aimed at strengthening political, economic, and cultural cooperation between Israel and Latin America. The announcement came during a meeting in Buenos Aires. Between Malay and foreign Israeli minister. Malay said Argentina would serve as a pioneer alongside the U.S. in promoting the new framework, describing it as a vehicle to deepen engagement with Israel across a range of strategic fields. Look at that. So what does this mean for Venezuela? We've been talking a lot about Venezuela. Let's pull up 3. This is an article. Venezuela's Jews see no way out. What most frightens Venezuela's increasingly dwindling Jewish community is uncertainty of what comes next. Will the U.S. invade or not? If they decide to attack, will it be surgical operation or something larger that could endanger anyone walking down the street? Venezuelan Jews are now grappling with the consequences of the country's mounting isolation. Just days earlier, the Federal Aviation Administration in the U.S. had issued a security notice urging airlines and pilots to avoid Venezuelan airspace, citing a worsening security situation, increased military activity, potential GPS interference. In turn, Venezuela revoked operating rights for 6 major international airlines. Everything got really expensive. People couldn't leave. There were 2 serious implications. On the one hand, it sharpened the sense that some form of U.S. strike might be imminent, prompting many Venezuelans to flee, which was made difficult by scarcity of flights and prices. So Malay managed to capture the imagination of Jews around the world, and Israelis in particular, with an enthusiasm rarely seen in contemporary politics, kissing the wall, a la kissing the wall. Yet the initiative he unveiled in recent days aimed for something more than enduring emotional symbolism. The challenge for the ambitiously titled Isaac Accords is to become something more than a diplomatic label. The initiative seeks tangible outcomes on two fronts. First, there are political and economic dimensions, cooperation in technology, cyber defense, of course, agriculture, energy, natural resources. Put simply, Israel brings technological prowess. Latin America brings raw potential. You know what that means. But there's also an ideological component, one that appeals deeply to Milei. He envisions a regional coalition of leaders openly supporting Israel, confronting anti-Semitism, and rejecting terrorist ideologies. Then there's discussion about who's going to join. Argentina, Paraguay, Ecuador are already aligned with Israel. Bolivia, maybe in future. And Chile, I don't know, probably not maybe in future. But Brazil's out and Venezuela is out. So what are they doing? Are they trying to put regional pressure on these nations to surround them with Israeli forces and influences to get the entire region controlled and take its resources? Is that what is happening right now?
I think that's exactly what's going on, because these guys, Israel doesn't have anything of its own. They don't have their own oil. They don't have their own gold, silver. They don't have their own metal. They don't have their own, they have no natural resources. They're
I misspoke.
completely
Bolivia
dependent.
is in.
Yeah.
I was wrong about that. Sorry.
But anyway, yeah. But so they're trying to shore up their supply lines independent of the United States, independent of all of these other things. They're trying to become a world empire. And through the Abraham Accords, now through the Isaac Accords, that's what's going on. And that's why I'm nervous about this whole thing, because, it's one thing to be kind of critical of the American empire. And I get it, believe me. I'm not a fan of being the world's policeman. I'm not a fan of all of these foreign wars, but they've all been fought on behalf of Israel. Now, what would be worse is us losing the empire, Israel gaining it, and then us being rugged economically by the people in charge, and then we would become a third world country. And then, of course, Democrats would get in and then flood the country with, Mexicans. That is the worst possible case scenario. And I'm afraid that's where we're headed.
Well, why else would they do this?
Why else?
Yeah.
Revenge.
They would do this for revenge?
That's what they did to Spain for revenge. That's what they did to Rome for revenge. That's what they did to England for revenge. They are one of the most vengeful people. They don't do the turn the other cheek. They believe in an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. So if America becomes hostile to Israel, which it's very clear that over the next 20 to 30 years, as the Zoomers come of age, that's the direction that we're going to be going. These people see that, and they're getting ready to pull the rug.
Cameron, in terms of incentive, is there any other reason, is there any other impetus for Israel to create the Isaac Accords in Latin America?
Okay, so a couple things. This is nothing to worry about. Okay, the Abraham Accords are not much to worry about either. There is no Israeli empire. Remember, they're fighting a war on 8 fronts. They're a country the size of New Jersey, right? They are a basket case of an economy. They are entirely dependent for virtually everything on the United States. There is a very prominent Substacker. You guys probably don't know who he is, but his name is. They go by the moniker Doomberg, and they put out excellent geopolitical content, largely focused on energy. If you destroyed 10 or 12 key sites in Israel, power stations, desalination plants, they're done. They're finished. Okay. And what was demonstrated last summer when they skirmished with Iran, it's just how fragile that state is. Never mind the internal disruptions that are tearing that country apart. And we've talked before about this. At least 850,000, maybe more, of some of their best talent has left. Okay. Where have they gone? Well, some of them have gone to Cyprus. Some of them have gone to Latin America. Some of them have come back to the United States, or come to the United States, I should say. They have sprinkled around the world. That does not bode well for the future of Israel. Israel as a state is not long for this world. Okay, they are losing. They're losing the propaganda war in the United States, which is really the only ally that matters anymore. The public sentiment in Europe has turned against them. International sentiment has turned against them. They are a pariah state. And the only reason they continue to matter is because of tremendous Jewish power in the United States that subsidizes AIPAC and keeps that lobby in place so that it can dominate Congress. As we know, that will change. And I think it's going to change a lot sooner than 50 years or 30 years. No, we're not going to have to wait for the Zoomers. This is going to happen much faster, largely because of the financial catastrophe that's unfolding in the background. That's something that everybody who's political, you think political change happens politically. It doesn't. It happens from outside the political system. That's where it's going to come from. Regarding Latin America, this is a totally different thing. There are Jewish populations all over Latin America. There are prominent Jewish families that live in Mexico City. Some of them live in Medellin, Colombia. And there are more than a few that live in Uruguay and in Argentina. All of the places I just mentioned, I have been. I've lived in those places. I know wherever I speak. Uruguay in particular has attracted a lot of people because of its tax policies. And it's a very small country with a very pleasant climate at the very southern tip of South America. And you can get from Uruguay to Argentina in about an hour by ferry. What's his name? Javier Milei, who is a Jew and who does run Argentina. He has made a bet, and that bet is on the American Anglo financial empire, which is why he took some subset of his gold and he shipped it to the Bank of England in exchange for more bailouts from the IMF. He has also opened up his markets to venture capitalists, vulture capitalists from the United States. He has also tried to switch out the Argentine peso to dollars. All of these endeavors are a disaster for Argentina. And the good news is, politically speaking, Argentina is a minefield. And you have to remember that most of Latin America is a total mess. It is an ungovernable collection of random fiefdoms and basically Amerindian tribal groups that can only be governed by people like Maduro. So trying to referee or control that part of the world, well, good luck to you. Have fun with that. The only way you could make a dent in that part of the world is basically to do what the Chinese do. And what they do is they show up and they say, okay, we will build infrastructure for you. We'll build a canal, we'll build a road, we'll build a port, et cetera, et cetera. And in exchange, we get your agro commodities. That's it. They don't interfere in the local politics. They don't try to democratize, right? They're not trying to instantiate their hegemony. All they want is something transactional. That's fine. That's scalable in that part of the world. But regime change, killing people, trying to take over countries, which we're going to talk about in just a moment regarding Venezuela, that is a fool's errand. So no, I wouldn't worry about the Isaac Accords. I would not worry about the Abraham Accords. The bottom line is that what we led with tonight, watching Fuentes sort of eviscerate Piers Morgan, which is pleasing to the eyes in part because Piers Morgan is such a foppish, arrogant, condescending prick. That sort of hold on power that they have, it's waning.
What a great word.
Right? It's slipping out of their fingers, and it's happening fast now, everywhere. America is where that battle is being played out, not Latin America, not the Middle East. And once the relationship between Israel and the United States is permanently fractured in the U.S., and that is where we're headed, that state is not long for this world.
Yeah.
From your lips to God's ears.
I know. I just had to look
brother.
up foppish.
Inshallah.
What a delightful and kind of I don't know, gentlemanly way to call somebody a faggot.
Look, dude, the British really do have like some of the best
foppish,
insults.
concerned with one's clothes and appearance in an affected and excessive way, typically used of a man. Foppish.
That's great.
That's just
good.
great.
This is nice.
I like it when he says bedeviled too.
Yeah, Cameron is definitely like.
Piers Morgan is, you got to remember what Piers Morgan is. And for the Brits who watch our show, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. He's sort of an Anglo-Irish. And a lot of the Anglo-Irish are sort of condescending, right? Because they're not really English. They're not really accepted into the British sort of upper class. And so what do? They do what all wannabe snobs do. They overcorrect, right? And that's Piers Morgan. He is prickly on purpose, and that's what makes him particularly annoying. But he's a good foil for somebody like Fuentes to sort of mow down verbally and otherwise. My point being is that the relationship between Israel and the United Kingdom and America. That's it, folks. That's where everything is on the line. It's not Latin America. It's not the Middle East. And you better bet your ass Netanyahu knows that. He does. They all know it.
It's really funny too. Just back to Piers Morgan for a second. You know, as soon as the interview happened between him and Nick, somebody found out where the guy lived. And take a look at his neighborhood. He lives in a 99.7% white neighborhood.
Of course he does.
And he's like, oh, but my curry. I want my curry. Me mom want me curry.
He's like, I live in the most diverse place in the world, in London. It's like, bro.
Yeah, right. You live in a gated community, bro. Shut the fuck up.
Cameron, is this to say that you're not concerned about the mounting militaristic situation in Venezuela?
Well, that we didn't talk about. That's a separate issue.
Let's talk about it.
Let's get into it.
So this week, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought you were asking me a question.
Well, no, I was. We can talk about it in a second, though. So on September 2nd, Hegseth ordered a strike on a shipwrecked, supposed drug mule boat in the Caribbean. Now, 2 of them survived the initial attack. They're calling this a double tap. And the 2 that survived that were clinging to the boat were neutralized. Hegseth has said before that he and his troops and other commanders are not going to be limited by the rules of engagement. And of course, that clip is now being played ad nauseum. So you can tell, I think that we can all agree, if we're being intellectually honest, that Venezuela is not the threat to America that it's being portrayed as. I don't even think they're in the top 5 or 7 of drug suppliers to the United States of America. I mean, if we're really trying to target fentanyl, we'd be at war with Mexico. We get a lot of fentanyl from China, don't we?
Yes.
And we're not really doing anything about that. So drugs come from Venezuela, but this is not the reason that we're doing this. So I don't know. I've read reports that this has been debunked, that Hegseth never said to kill them, whatever. But why are we striking boats that may or may not? I also read that a quarter of boats in this region do not contain drugs. So we're just going to preemptively kill everybody on a boat because there's a 75% chance that there's drugs on the boat. What are we doing here?
Yeah, we're Franklin targets.
Oh,
you did?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I was like, what would be really funny? There's all these Franklin memes. So Pete Hegseth tweeted this out.
That's
and then
diabolical.
It is. But then there's Franklin gets a new job. Franklin meets a retard. Franklin enjoys eating bacon in front of PETA protesters. Franklin assists with deportations. Franklin meets the Fuhrer. That's probably the best
one. I
one
too, yeah.
But it is, on the one hand, it's kind of funny because it's spawned this whole meme thing. But at the same time,
Hegseth, that is bizarre.
We're just going to murder people.
I know.
What the fuck?
We would never do this in an American city, right? We would give people due process. They would be arrested.
Unless you're white. Unless you're white.
Yeah, really. Anyway, so you have to think, why are we actually doing this? Can you play clip 10? Let's just skip all that jazz. Yeah.
Clip number 10.
Number 10.
Yes.
This is Blumenthal and Judge Napolitano today.
What is the true reason, as you understand it, that Donald Trump has targeted speedboats in the Caribbean and amassed an armada, a naval armada off the coast of Venezuela?
Well, I think Venezuela and Nicolas Maduro were always eager for negotiations with Donald Trump. There were negotiations, basically renew Chevron's license, and Venezuela will work with Trump on accepting as many migrant flights as possible. And that's gone. That was the track of Rick Grenell. He was someone who could have been Secretary of State, but he was superseded by Marco Rubio, who represents what I call the Gusano industrial complex of South Florida, specifically Doral. And these are a few districts which the GIC, the Gusano industrial complex of Cuban Americans, Venezuelan Americans, and now a large number of right-wing Nicaraguans, uses to hold the Republican Party in particular hostage because they need to win these districts. So for Trump, this was about domestic politics, and he finds himself in a situation where he has committed something like 15 to 20% of the U.S. Navy and its assets, which cost a lot to run every day, to the Caribbean and fallen into to Rubio's trap, which is to launch this phony drug war as cover for a regime change war that I'm not sure Donald Trump actually wants to wage. But now Trump is in a situation where he has to save face. So how will he save face? Will he launch the war that Rubio and Elliot Abrams have called for, with special forces in teams attacking Venezuelan bases after a massive air assault all across Venezuela? Will he just announce that he's killed 100 drug dealers and stopped the poisoning of the U.S. and call it a day? I don't think so. Will he wage symbolic strikes, as Bill Clinton did, these pinpoint strikes in Iraq, kind of a wag the dog scenario? That's also likely. But Donald Trump has to save face now because he has fallen for the trap, which is intended to trigger a regime change war. And we can talk about this more, but
anyway, that's it. It's a 7:10, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just unreal. So Cameron, do you think that he covered all of the important reasons that contribute to our involvement in Venezuela and Latin America? I know you wanted to expound on the Rubio point.
He got a lot right. And man, I'm a big fan of Max Blumenthal. I don't share all of his politics for obvious reasons, but the man does his homework. He's a very good journalist. I have a lot of respect for that. And he takes risks. One of the things about us as white people, and it's very important for all of you listening to adhere to this, we respect people that have courage, that have ability, talent, people that merit respect. That is the paradigm of European individualism. And you should never disavow that, right? So I respect people from all over the world. Doesn't mean I want to live in a multiracial society. I don't, for obvious reasons. But nonetheless, the man does excellent work, and he deserves our attention and respect. He got a lot right. There's some things that he's missing. And this might be even more important than the JQ stuff that we led off with. And I know that gets a lot of traffic right now, particularly on the right, quote unquote, but that's because a lot of people on the right don't understand the history of the United States. They don't really know where we come from. And a lot of that is coming together in this catastrophe in Venezuela, which is unfolding for a lot of reasons, some of which Blumenthal talked about, a confederation of problems that are rapidly descending upon the national identity of the United States, an identity that has been under siege for 50 years, maybe longer, depending on how you look at it, but nonetheless, an identity that's beginning to reorient itself. Sadly speaking, Donald Trump was somebody who did give voice to that identity. However, erratically, emotionally, or incoherently, he did. And this is very important to understand as well, folks. Just because somebody tells you what you want to hear doesn't mean you should trust them. What we have learned about Donald Trump and his little MAGA movement is that they are a fraud, that they don't represent the United States. Now, an obvious problem that they had at inception was AIPAC. It was the Zionist domination of the government. That was true in Trump 1. Trump 2 is even worse. Not only do we have the Zionist problem, not only is Netanyahu more important in Washington, D.C. on Capitol Hill than President Trump is, but we've also got Wall Street that's basically writing legislation for the Trump administration. We have Silicon Valley that's cashing in on the grift factory as well. Basically, Trump has communicated that he's pay for play. He's a sort of gangster. He's unmasked himself. Now, what does that mean exactly? What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that he has sold out to, I would say, the historic enemy of the United States. And who is the historic enemy of the United States? What are the wars that have sort of come to define what this country is, that gave it expression, that enlivened this concept of manifest destiny? Mexico. We fought multiple wars against Mexico, right? Starting really in the 1830s in Texas, then in the 1840s with the Mexican-American War, and we have skirmished with Mexico back and forth ever since. All right, so tuck that away for just a second. Cortez lands in the Yucatan Peninsula, I think in about 1519. When he gets to the Yucatan Peninsula, you basically have a few peoples that dominate Mesoamerica. Most prominent among them are the Mayans and the Aztecs. And you have various iterations of these Amerindian folks all over South America and Mesoamerica. And if you bring up a map of Mexico, Dave, I don't know if you can do that, but Mexico and everything south of Mexico is gigantic. Just to give you an example, so all of you are probably familiar with Colorado and Denver. Denver is the mile-high city. Mexico City is actually a higher altitude than Denver, if you can believe it. And the state of Mexico is gigantic. And the little states beneath it, which used to be part of Mesoamerica, are also gigantic. Now, why do I mention that? When the Spanish conquistadors got to the New World, as it were, and New Spain is what they christened it, they had a serious problem. And that was you had mass numbers of people that were basically living in extremely dysfunctional societies that had death cults like the Aztecs, that were marauding bandits of complete anarchy in most cases. And there was some form of hierarchy. There were a narrow crop of elites at the top, but everybody else was basically servile to them. This is part of the reason why the Spaniards and others like the Portuguese were able to so rapidly conquer all of these massive empires in Central and South America, because they were very top heavy. There was no middle class. There was no widespread learning. It was basically a very narrow sliver of elites that had mass control over immense territory, and in some cases, very large civilizations. Once those elites were taken out, those empires collapsed, and then the Spanish and the Portuguese found themselves having to rule large numbers of these folks. And what they did is they basically set up viceroys, and they shipped over aristocratic families that controlled large swaths of this territory. But it was never really civilized. It was never really Europeanized. In no way, shape, or form did what happened in the United States and in Canada and Australia and New Zealand happen in Central and South America at all. And this is going to come to count in just a minute. So again, just put that there. The Spanish Empire then basically falls apart in about the 1820s. Mexico declares its independence, I think, in 1821. And then the various sub-states inside of Mexico begin to fragment. And that's how you get all of these weird machinations, whether it's Nicaragua or Honduras or El Salvador. Again, all of that was sort of congealed under the Spanish conquistadors, under the viceroy. When that fell, everything fragmented. And just south of that, you had something called Gran Colombia. And that was basically the idea that you would take large swaths of territory and create a sort of but locally run empire. This was the dream of Simón Bolívar, which is why Colombia today is still known as the Bolivarian Republic. That included Venezuela, Panama, Ecuador, other parts of South America as well. Unfortunately, that failed, and that fragmented as well, which is why Latin America looks the way that it does today. Cuba was also part of this, as you know, and eventually this entire thing liquidated, and basically what you got were a cohort of people like Maduro. And in Latin America, what they call them are caudillos, and caudillos are basically military political leaders. That's the only way to govern Latin America. That's it. There is no democracy. There are no institutions. There is no middle class. There is no rule of law. That's it. You have to have a strong man that rules. Okay. Fast forward to where we are today. If you go to the 1950s, everything in South Florida in particular changed in the United States. Why do I fast forward all the way to there? I skipped over a lot because there was this thing called the Cuban Revolution in 1959. In 1959, Fidel Castro, who in 1955 took a trip to Miami to raise money for the revolution in 1959 against Batista, he sent a lot of wealthy Cubanos, some of whom were aristocrats, or descended from aristocrats. Some were not, and they ended up in Miami. And Miami, by the way, is one of the most waspy institutions that we or towns or communities we've ever created. It was created by people like Mary Brickell or Henry Flagler, Collins. I mean, if you go down to Miami, and I lived there back in 2022, you'll see all of these beautiful buildings. The Art Deco is all built by WASP and largely by this guy named Henry Flagler, who worked for Standard Oil and had just an immense treasure trove of cash and built pretty much everything that's in Florida, West Palm Beach, Miami, everything, okay? A truly great man and a visionary. In any case, that changed in 1959 when you had all of these Cuban emigres, these refugees that showed up in Miami and basically took over South Florida. Now, that was compounded in the 1980s by the Morielitas. This is where the movie Scarface comes into play, right? So I know most of you have seen Scarface. That was all these immigrants that were coming from Haiti and other parts of the islands that ended up in our shores as well. That introduced all kinds of criminality, cartel activity, violence in the street. If you've never seen Miami Vice, Michael Mann show, you should watch it. A lot of that's true. That's what Miami was really like in those days. This is the genesis of where Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz and many of his ilk come from. These are the folks that have commanded tremendous resources inside the Trump administration. This is an expression of the subversion of America's national identity and its foreign policy. And Trump has played ball with this because they have paid him to do it. Now, setting all of that aside, why is this a big problem per se, and why does this specifically affect America in terms of its national identity? I'm so glad that you asked. If you go back to 1848, 1849, around the time that the Mexican War was fought, there was an open discussion about absorbing Mexico into the empire. In fact, it was debated in Congress. And a truly great man, another visionary from one of the great states in the Union, South Carolina, J.C. Calhoun, strongly opposed absorbing Mexico. Why did he oppose it? Well, this is what he said. We have never dreamt of incorporating into our union any but the Caucasian race, the free white race. To incorporate Mexico would be the first instance of the kind of incorporating an Indian race, for more than half of the Mexicans are Indians and the others composed chiefly of mixed tribes. I protest against such a union as that. Ours, sir, is the government of a white race. We are anxious to force free government on all, and I see that it has been urged that it is the mission of this country to spread civil and religious liberty all over the world, and especially over this continent. That would be a great mistake. Now, I say all of that because a document was just released called the National Security Strategy. And this document is being widely celebrated, particularly by people on the right, as some kind of retrenchment of American national security interests. Finally, we're ending the forever wars. Well, if you read that document, given what J.C. Calhoun said, listen to what the document says. We, quote, we want to ensure that the Western Hemisphere remains reasonably stable and well-governed enough to prevent and discourage mass migration to the United States. We want a hemisphere whose governments cooperate with us against narco-terrorist cartels and other transnational criminal organizations. Now, if you understand what I just said, that Latin America cannot be governed, that to the extent that it has been governed, it's been ruled by these caudillos, right? These strongmen that basically control pockets of ungoverned territory with mass numbers of people. You understand that it is not in our interest to go into the Western Hemisphere and try to govern any of these people. And secondly, we don't need to control these areas to prevent mass immigration. We need mass expulsions of the illegals that are already here, that pose a direct threat to our national identity. And Marco Rubio and company are a perfect expression of that. They represent the foreign takeover of our government, of our resources, no less than the Israel lobby, except what they want to do is revive the Spanish Empire of old. They want to destroy Maduro on their way to regime change in Cuba, and they won't stop there. And why? Because Rubio and Cruz and a lot of these folks, they're descended from the very same viceroys that had the Spanish Empire for those centuries since Cortez landed in the Yucatan Peninsula. None of that, ladies and gentlemen, as J.C. Calhoun said, has anything to do with white America or our interests. This is the bastardized, treasonous government that you've got, led by a gangster who sold you out.
What a great monologue.
That's just brutal.
Yeah.
If anybody has any hope left in the presidency of Donald Trump, I hope that has really sealed the deal for you.
Oh, yeah. The Cuban lobby is like the
I don't think this is well known.
People don't know about I didn't know about the Cuban lobby until Cameron and I linked up, and I'm like, holy shit, there's like a whole thing going on here.
Well, it sounds kind of hilarious and like it's not real. And I think people don't take it seriously on its face.
Big Cuba.
Big
pulling
Cuba,
the
right. Yeah.
But it's true. It's true. And, you know, the other thing that I just want to add to a lot of this stuff that Cameron was saying is just when you look at the history of South America and the Bolivarian Revolution and all of that, it would grieve me to not mention the influence of Freemasonry on all of this. Because all of those revolutions, you know, talking about religious liberty, fraternity, brotherly love, and all this bullshit, that was all brought about by the Freemasons as an attack on Spain. And it's like they can't self-govern down there, you know, and so breaking the link that they had to Spain and the Catholic faith, which is how they were able, the Spanish and the natives were able to like live in some, albeit slight relative harmony. There was a lot of racial tension, and especially in Quito, Ecuador, which is an interesting thing. But yeah, they broke that. And go Google Garcia Moreno too. Read about him. He was assassinated in I think 1884 might be by a Freemason at the Order of Otto von Bismarck. So yeah, fuck these people. Fuck the whole thing.
What made America work? What makes America work is what you see on this show, right? Rebecca Hargraves and Cameron McGregor, we descend from the same line. And Dave, being the Italian and Irish descent that he is, we're the same. We're all Americans. Because whether you were Polish or you were Italian or you were British or you were German, you came to the United States and you were able to buy into a white culture that was subordinated to an Anglo-American national identity. That's what America is. That stops once you move beyond Caucasian peoples. And so what we have here with Marco Rubio is somebody that is not an American. He doesn't represent our interests. And that's what we must understand. And that's why this is not just about the JQ, folks. This is about our identity as a people. Who the fuck are we? We've got to sort through that out. We've got to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, look, enough is enough. We are not a Spanish-speaking country. We have nothing in common with Mexico or Latin America. The fault line is the Rio Grande. And unfortunately, that fault line has been a malleable membrane for the better part of 30 years. And a lot of that isn't even the special interest groups and the propaganda. It's our negligence. And specifically, the WASP elite that wanted to buy into all this crap and pretend that all these racial tensions could somehow be mollified by some bullshit civic nationalism. That was never going to work. Because fundamentally speaking, Dave Riley, Rebecca Hargraves, Cameron McGregor, whatever, we're the same. We're basically the same. The rest of these people, they ain't. They're different.
Yeah. By the way, the Garcia Moreno thing that I pulled up, he was assassinated in 1875. I was off by 10 years.
So close.
But I was very close.
I actually think that we should ditch this last segment. We've gone very long. It's very late for Cameron.
We were going to get into stuff about Putin.
I know.
Yeah.
But we've gone long.
We can do it. We can do it some other time.
Okay.
If you want.
Cameron, how about you go to bed? Do you want to go to bed?
Do you want some super chats?
I got 20 minutes.
Let's do some super
Give you
chats
20.
for 20 minutes.
Okay, I guess get your last minute super chats into my channel or thebacklash.net/super chat. $10 and up on the Wednesday stream. And
absolutely. But first, we got to give a brief shout out to Above Time Coffee Roasters. They make the best hand roasted small batch coffee that you've ever had in your life. I've been drinking it religiously in the mornings. It's absolutely fantastic.
He's really tweaked out all the time. It's very annoying.
Yeah, I'm like texting the group chat like, hey, what if we had this? What if we had that? I'm like sitting here like sipping on coffee, adding clips. But they've got a new espresso roast. I highly recommend the blonde roast. It's absolutely fantastic. Please visit abovetimecoffee.com and you can use a discount code BACKLASH10 for 10% off of your order with Above Time Coffee Roasters. So with that, let's get into some of these super chats. What's today's date? The 10th?
The 10th.
We should really get like an intro song or something. It'd be really good. Okay. Queensboro Bridge Enjoyer sent $10. Cam, great Roy Cohn reference. Amazingly, Cohn also served as the primary advisor, subverting Joseph McCarthy's commie investigation, ultimately diverting attention away from the actual ethnicity of most commie spies and instead focusing on Gentiles.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Dave, I think you know more about Roy Cohn than I do.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he was definitely like a mentor to Donald Trump. He was working with McCarthy. He's the one that passed off a bogus list of commies to McCarthy that discredited McCarthy. He was in bed with Louis Rosenstiel, Meyer Lansky, and all the Jewish gangsters that were involved in blackmail. He was kind of like a Jeffrey Epstein of his day. Yeah. And so... yeah.
Definitely a great mentor to have.
Jeez. Isn't there like a movie? There's like a movie about Donald Trump that came out a couple years ago. And there's like a scene where like somebody walks in on like Donald Trump giving Roy Cohn a blowy.
What?
Oh, yeah. You haven't seen this? There's clips of it that float around every now and again. But yeah, it's
Who's Bubba?
Yeah, who's Bubba? Is it BB? Is it Bill Clinton? Yeah, what was the name? It was a Trump movie. Let's see. Was it The Apprentice? 2024? Hold on. Oh yeah, see, this is the movie. Yeah. See, there's Donald Trump in the car and Roy Cohn. We're not going to play it, but yeah.
Interesting.
The whole movie is about Donald Trump
a
and
great
Roy Cohn.
movie that all of you guys should watch. I don't know if you two have seen it actually, but a great movie that really delves into all this stuff is Lolita, 1962. And specifically Peter Sellers' character, a guy named Claire Quilty. That's basically who Epstein is. And my own personal theory is that that's what Kubrick's films are all about, essentially exposing this dark underworld of the elites and their destruction to some degree.
Are we going to get copyrighted for this?
No, I don't think so. But yeah, here's the scene that I was talking about.
Lolita's a fantastic book.
This was from The Apprentice.
Thank you, Donald. 24-karat American patriot and a friend. I know you're going to go on to do a lot of things that would make me very proud.
What?
Thank you.
Well, it's not over yet, Roy.
What? My life?
Let's hope not. Maybe not tonight. Stay alive for a little longer.
It's like really creepy, the whole movie. But yeah, there's like a really weird like gangbang scene where they show Donald Trump like, you know.
I get it, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Roy Cohn died of AIDS. He was a freak.
Wow.
Homo. Anyway. All right, moving on. Queensboro Bridge Enjoyer sent another $10. Cohn's subversion of McCarthy and Trump is the same tactic Meyer Lansky used on Lucky Luciano and the Italian Mafia. A Gentile serves as the public face who absorbs the blame, while the tribe runs things behind the scenes. It gets exactly what it wants. This guy is smart. And he has a third super chat from Queensboro Bridge Enjoyer. With Blonde's recent humble brag about her immense power over men and advocating for cleavage in society, many people are saying that she should prove it by manipulating Peter Steele of Twitter, Will Stansel, into appearing on the show.
Oh, I'd love to get Will Stansel on.
That'd
I
be
don't
funny.
remember making any claims that I have some sort of I just said that women should leverage their sexual
We
prowess.
hear about it every pre-production meeting, guys.
Cover up, wear dresses, no more pants. We got to get rid of the pants.
I know, the Cameron's like, more cleavage, more show cleavage. We're trying to get them views.
Thank you for the
would never.
Thank you for the big super chats, Queensboro Bridge Enjoyer. We got a big $50 super chat from Reinhardt. Thank you for the big super chat. Happy Millennial. If you haven't checked it out, then find Millennial Woes on Rumble and catch the best and most highly anticipated series of interviews of the year.
Has it started?
It is starting soon.
How soon?
Very soon. He's been tweeting about it. I'm very excited. I believe Cameron and I are going to be on this year. It'll be my debut on Millennial.
Together?
No, separately. Yeah.
So you wish.
The Backlash is going to be like taking up like a grand total of like 5% of all of the Millennial content. So we are
I've been trying to get Cameron in on some of the Monday interviews, and he like agreed to one, and he was like, "This will be the only one. This is it.
That's it. It's over."
It was because Rebecca, I can't show off my cleavage more than once a week.
I have no such rules.
Oh my God.
My quote is my quote.
Quad Scripsy, right? Son of Rasmus sent $10. Period blood is gross. I stand with Nick.
That was so bizarre.
True.
With Piers Morgan,
Have
I
you
don't
ever
know
seen
if
a
you watched
tampon? You ever seen a tampon, Nick?
Yeah.
It's like, what's...
I mean, it was right after his line of questioning about whether he's or not he's a virgin. But like, when you're engaged in sexual activity with a woman, that those don't go hand in hand.
No.
I'm not showing my husband my tampon. Like, you know, I thought it was such a bizarre line of questioning.
Listen, if you're ever in one of these god-awful, all-gender bathrooms and you see like a tiny little trash can,
don't open
it. Okay? Don't open it. And you'll never have to deal with any of this.
Can't women have some mystery?
You people.
You know, what's so amazing, and I didn't watch other than the clips that you guys showed, I didn't see the interview, but what's so amazing is that if you do watch Fuentes, and I know Dave and Rebecca watches him consistently, but is there anybody that could challenge Fuentes in terms of chaos media, in terms of what he does? Of course not.
Nope.
You're getting into the boxing match with Ali in his prime or Tyson. You know you're going to get knocked out. So why in God's name would you come in and throw haymakers? Why would you not just try to have a conversation with the guy and just say, hey, listen, you know, let it sort of be nice to him, get him to relax. Instead, you're going to get haymakers until you're knocked out. And that's what happened. I mean, these people, they're just not smart. They're just not smart.
They are not smart. They aren't. And it's so funny too, all of these, like the opinion has been kind of split amongst like Jews. There's the Mark Levin group that's like, oh, we got to cancel him. We got to get rid of him. We've got to expunge him from society, blah, 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 right? Like that's opinion one. And then opinion two is like this group of naive people that are like, no, we should let him air out what he believes. Put him on all the interview shows. Let him talk. The more that he talks, the more people will hate what he has to say. And it's like, you're retarded.
Yeah.
You are so stupid.
It just reminds me of how they handled Trump, right?
Yep.
Again, go back to 2016, and it was the same. Every interview was basically choreographed the same way. The interviewer says, "Did you really say this?
Did you really call Rosie O'Donnell a pig?
Did you really demonize this group?" Every single interview. Nobody thought, well, maybe I should take a different approach with this guy. Nobody. Incredible.
Oh, there was a clip that I put.
Incredible.
There was a clip that I put in the thing that we didn't play. Let me play this real quick. I know we're in super chats, but it is so funny. Right? Piers Morgan thinks he's got an absolute knockout blow. I'm going to play the clip where you talk about imprisoning black people. Okay, watch this.
You're always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple.
That's 100% true. Everything I said in that clip is true.
Including that blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Yeah. Yes.
Look at them.
But all of them?
Look at them.
No, for the most part.
What does the most part mean? What percentage of American blacks would you like to see in prison?
Whatever the percentages of the murderers. I think it's 1 in 20 black men will commit a murder in their lifetime. So maybe let's say that 5%.
Oh, so you're talking about black people who murder people?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But you didn't say that.
That's
You
the
just
crime
said
problem.
blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. You didn't clarify that you were talking about black murderers.
Right. No, you're right. That's a good addition to that. That's a great point.
Do you think it's funny or?
I do. I think it's hilarious. I think it's totally true.
Do you think a black American would find it funny? You think that blacks should be imprisoned for the most part?
Blacks are my biggest fans. I get high fives all the time. They say, Nick Fuentes, I love your show. They agree with me.
That's straight out of Donald Trump right there.
Here's the difference. Black people are the most victimized by other black people. You think black people want to live in the hood and the ghetto and get shot all the time? That's what happens in the south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
You should come here. I'll take you there. We could go to Garfield Park.
What do they say?
Yeah, hold on.
I don't agree with they go in.
That's
hold on.
If you're to asking me, do I think that people that kill people need to go to jail? I think that's an undeniable fact.
For sure.
I think that a lot of the crime against other black people that comes from black people is a problem. We've said that on this channel 100 times.
2 + 2.
I mean, it's like.
So anyway, needless to say, it fell flat in the black community.
Well, Nick's
what they were trying to do
charismatic,
there.
and black people respond to charisma.
They also respond to people that can just speak plainly and directly, and it's true.
Well,
and
look,
they
guys,
live in it.
I don't mean to bust your bubble. That has made no impact on the black community.
No,
all right?
you're probably
that's
right.
not going to change a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
All right. So let's not get
But
get
it's
too
not going to
excited.
negatively impact the black community either.
What?
No. But again, this is not about persuasion. This is about tribalism. And what you heard there from the blacks is just, our community's fucked up. But that's because things are really bad in Chicago. They're really bad in Philadelphia, and they're so bad. It's becoming unignorable. That's the truth. But that doesn't mean that they share his vision or his opinions.
Oh, right.
There's a sharp dividing line between those two things.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Let's see. Mojack sent $10 on Rumble. If you come to the realization that the Holocaust is nothing but a Jewish psyop, then you have to think maybe Hitler wasn't the literal personification of evil.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Bingo.
Well, again, it's like everything else, right? If you're talking about this war in Ukraine, well, the Russians are evil because they invaded. Okay, well, why did they invade? What happened before they invaded, right? It's the same thing with National Socialism or Bolshevism. Any of these things, there is always context. And if you forbid that, if you say, hey, look, this is unacceptable, we can have no context, you've created, ironically enough, you've created a glass house. And all it's going to take is a small pebble to chip away at that, to shatter it completely. And finally, that's what's happened. Finally.
Yep. Nick Fuentes is like David and Goliath. Anyway, Zio sent $12. If the Nazis won the war, would they have eventually detonated a nuclear weapon?
Is this a real question?
I don't know. How many elephants can stand on the head of a pin? God knows.
No,
I don't think they would have detonated a nuclear weapon. As a matter of fact, Adolf Hitler prohibited the use of poison gases in the war. Like, he was like the only one that was like, hey guys, let's not like do the mustard gas. I got hit with that. I don't want to do that,
I don't think we should have used the A-bomb.
Neither do I.
I agree.
I think that was a big mistake. And I think that the United States set a very dangerous precedent in doing that. Nobody should have used that bomb.
Yeah, no, it's immoral. We shouldn't have it. It should be used for energy. It shouldn't be used for death. Cameron's Secret Harem sent $10. Since China is inflating its currency out of control, could China use the war in China to try to save the yuan like World War II did for the dollar? Could Cameron and Dave also comment on Japan raising its interest rates and the consequences of that? Cameron, take it away.
The premise of the question is false. China is not inflating their currency into oblivion. They are, it seems, experiencing some kind of a deflationary event. and they do have problems in their banks. That is a hangover from a property bubble that was pricked several years ago. Couple things about China. China is not really a state. It's more of a civilization, okay? And I say that in part because it's gigantic. So the economic conditions in China are very province by province, city by city. It's just too difficult to say holistically what shape they're in. That being said, they have extremely competent leadership that has done a few things. One is they have accumulated, and Dave knows this very well, massive amounts of gold, massive amounts that they started accumulating in 2002 when they created something called the Shanghai Gold Exchange, which I believe has changed the monetary world forever. I think, in fact, it has disrupted this sort of legacy Rothschild banking system as we understand it today. If you want to learn more about that, check out my Substack. Regarding the second question about Japan, I think that, and I sort of badger Rebecca and Dave about this, and I think they're sick of hearing me talk about it, frankly, and I don't blame them. But I think that a tsunami of financial destruction is beginning to make landfall in Japan. Right now, they are in the debt trap. They have a 10-year yield, so that's interest on JGBs, Japanese government bonds, that's flirting with 2%. That's the highest it's been in about 30 years. The problem with that is that they have the largest on-balance sheet debt of any nation in the world as a percentage of their economy. It's massive. So I think we're at like 130% debt to GDP. They are at, I think, 240%.
Yeah, 229.
229. Thank you, Dave. It is massive, and it's blowing up. And at the same time, their currency is also losing value. Now, here's the other side of the story. The reason that matters is that there's something called the yen carry trade. The yen carry trade is a legacy of really the last 30 years in which the Japanese, who implemented bailouts as we understand them, they bailed out everything when the Japanese bubble burst at the end of the 80s and the beginning of the 90s. And just to be clear with you, in the late 80s, real estate in the city of Tokyo was worth more than the entire state of California. Whoa. That's how inflated everything was. And it popped. It just collapsed. But instead of letting the bubble burst so that they could liquidate and restructure, what they did is they bailed everybody out. And they've been carrying this burden ever since. And so the debt's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, now, finally, it seems it's over. Their debt is getting liquidated. Their currency is collapsing. And so something to the tune of $10 to $20 trillion, maybe more, that's been invested in the United States, specifically in U.S. stocks and in treasury bonds, that's beginning to reverse. And now there are cracks in the repo market, there's cracks in the treasury bond market, and there's problems in the stock market. This is the beginning, folks. Over to you, Dave.
Yeah, no, that's it. I just, the only thing I would add to that is check back at atlasbullion.com/backlash. At some point, they will be back up and running with accurate pricing, and you should be hedging on that. I mean, I think China's doing the smart thing. They're buying gold, and I think that's what we should be doing too. So that's really all that I have to add to that. And a real Uber Mensch sent $25. 6 million. It could be 100 times that number.
Did he say that?
I think he did.
Cameron is shaking his head disapprovingly.
Big mad lad. He sent $10. Me mum was fuck. Me mum was masturbated to death and turned into North Idaho tallow soap. So you shouldn't have a country. You're going to get us fired. Listen, all of the soap at idahotallow.com comes from grass-fed beef.
Jews.
It's no, it's grass-fed beef, cow fat. It's wonderful. It's good for your skin. It's good for your face. It makes you look good. It makes you smell good. I'm using it in my hair as a nice hair pomade. You can get soaps, balms, and lip balms without endocrine disruptors or bullshit fragrances that are all like bad for you and they disrupt your hormones. So ditch the synthetic garbage and switch to North Idaho Tallow Company. You still have a couple of days where you can get free shipping on orders over $100, and you can also get their amazing Christmas gift set thing. They've got like a, where is it here? The signature gift box ready to gift for $45. It comes with 2 ounces of tallow balm, a tallow soap, and chapstick. And it's all delivered right to whoever you want to give it to. Wonderful stuff. They do not use human fat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I knew tallow soap was good. I didn't know it was that good.
Oh, it's the best. Thank you for not firing us. Let's see. Robert sent $25. Indians run the hotels, cab driving, job recruitment, customer service, cannabis shops, gas stations, Amazon delivery, IT jobs, etc., etc. And now, coming to a head-on collision near you, the trucking industry. What is even left for average Americans?
Yeah, that's right.
Is so bad.
Just learn to code, bro, so that AI can take your job.
It's not good. We need to, and this is why it's so important to build fraternal networks, to build parallel institutions, parallel economies around you with the people that see the world the way that you see it, because, you know, everyone else is going to get blindsided by a lot of this shit.
So,
anyway.
Yeah, so just a couple things on this. When I'm asked about, you know, the stuff Fuentes says, or I'm asked about, you know, Candace Owens or Tucker or the JQ or whatever, the upshot of those questions is always sort of what we talked about tonight. Like, isn't this so impactful? Isn't this so eventful? Isn't this such a transformative moment? And oftentimes, and I know it pisses off a lot of the groypers in the audience, but a lot of times my response is muted. And I want to explain why that is. The theater of things is very important to Americans. We love entertainment. We love the fucking World Wrestling Federation. We love NFL. I mean, if you were to channel the rage that you hear on sports talk radio, and I love sports, I consume a lot of sports media myself. If you listen to Monday morning after a big football weekend, you're going to hear massive rage, demanding accountability, demanding people get fired, demanding players are traded if a particular team does not win, right? Especially if it's one of America's big teams, whether it's the Dallas Cowboys or it's the Patriots or it's the Lakers or the Celtics or whatever. We love entertainment. That's what we do. We often get lost in entertainment. We often think that the entertainment is the substance when really it's not. It's just the sizzle. What is the substance? There was an article that came out a couple weeks ago. I sent it to both Rebecca and Dave, and I said, fucking read this. I send them a lot of stuff, but it's very important. It was called My Life is a Lie.
Oh, yeah.
And it was written by a very bright guy, a Wall Streeter, to be sure, but a bright guy named Michael Green. And he is, I think, the chief strategy officer for Simplify Investments. You can find it on Substack, Dave, if you want to bring it up. My Life is a Lie. In this essay, which I think is one of the most important essays that has been written in the last 5 years. Okay, it's very, very important, and you should all read it. It went viral on Twitter, on Substack. Everybody that it has a keen interest in macroeconomics, finance, government statistics, what have you, is reading it. What he argues is that the poverty line, which officially in the United States is about $32,000 a year for a household of four, that is a total fraud, that is a legacy of the 1960s, a time when the cost of rent, the cost of healthcare, and the cost of childcare were more or less under control. And so that number, which is basically a derivation of the cost of food. So the calculation was that if you're only making 2 or 3 times bare minimum what it costs to buy food, that you're basically at the poverty line. Anything below that is in need of government assistance. Well, according to Michael Green's statistics, the new number, adjusted for inflation and real cost, should be about $140,000 a year for a household of 4. Now, if that's the case, that means that 80% of the middle class, and remember, we're living in a great economy. Donald Trump, who's throwing fucking Gatsby parties at Mar-a-Lago, told me, hey, the economy's great. It's the golden age. 80% of Americans are working poor. They're basically living at or below the poverty line. They're barely making it. And what Green says is something that I've talked about since the beginning of this podcast, that the social contract is broken. When social contracts break, folks, that's when you get revolutions. So is that something? Is that nothing? Is that everything? That is everything. And that's going to change this country forever. It's going to completely transform our system of government, and the people that are in power when this whole thing blows up, and I think it's beginning to, they're going to be held accountable for this shit. And I think it's going to get very ugly.
Yeah, I think you're right. We got a big super chat from Anonymous. Much love, friends. Thank you for the big super chat. We do appreciate it. North Idaho Talos sent $10. Great show. Thank you all for so much of support. Your orders are going out as quickly as I can. I'm restocking daily to try and keep up, and I appreciate your patience. I'm so humbled by your support. This is the last week for Christmas orders. Yes, so please get your Christmas orders into idahotallow.com if you haven't already. We've got a $12 super chat from Zio, who says, I understand the desire not to use the A-bomb. Considering the white race is already suicidal and self-destructive, having others use A-bombs on you would be a pretty quick way to do that. Yeah, very true. We do have some super chats over on Entropy. Finally, it's working this go around. Look at this, it's working.
Wow. Woo-hoo. Well done, Entropy, working one time.
Large, loud black woman sent $10. When I see Dave chimp out on Blonde, dat when I know he not part Italian, but he part nigga. Thank you for the super chat. K-Max McDonald sent $10, saying, was the one part you thought was cringe by Nick was mentioning having all these black and Jewish friends. Did you feel like Nick was implying that he has more black and Jewish friends than he does white ones? I'd hope that we are still a majority white as a movement. Oh, for sure. But I mean, like, look at how Nick spent Thanksgiving. It was with Kanye West.
Yeah, but he does do the I have a black friend thing.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like fun. It's funny because it's like he does it anyway and it doesn't work.
He spent Thanksgiving with Kanye West?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like Kanye, Sneeko, a couple of other people. They posted some. That's why Myron fell off, right? Myron like had Milo on the show. There's like all kinds of drama happening right now.
I don't care.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
I don't find that cringe. What I think, if I had to critique, the brief clips that I saw, the problem that I have with it, and for those of you young men that are watching this, listen to what I'm saying. Okay, it's very important for you to understand the environment that you're operating in, to shift gears depending on what platform you're on. This is something, for example, that our dear president does not do very well. He's a one-speed kind of guy, probably because he ain't that smart, right? And I came across a quote from his mother, actually. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but his mother basically said, he has no common sense, and he has no business going into politics, but he is my son, something like that.
Donald Trump's mother said that?
Yeah, she did that. I'll send it to you guys. Wow. You could probably find it on Twitter. But as far as I know, it's a viable quote. But my point is that we are now moving into a different stage of the cycle. And look, all jokes aside, there's a lot of substance to what was said in that interview. A lot of substance. These are fucking hard questions that need to be asked. We need to go and dig deep and find out, hey, what the hell really happened in the 1930s and 40s? Why did things go so disastrously wrong? How did we get into this position? And so treating that issue with more seriousness, with a more analytical framework, I think would have served him better than sort of just reflexively throwing bombs here and there. The time to throw bombs has come and gone, in my opinion. Now is the time to say, okay, we're going to make a forceful argument based on the facts, based on the substance of the case. And you're not going to shut us down with this reflexive racism or some kind of excoriation. That ain't going to work. Putting more teeth, more substance into that, I think that would have served him better in that debate, particularly in front of a British audience that wants to hear more, frankly, about the past, specifically amongst the youth, right? So you need to have different gears. Sometimes you got to downshift, sometimes you got to upshift, right? That's very, very important. And now is the time to flesh out these arguments and say, hey, what the hell really is going on here? That's what we must do. That's the next step.
Yeah. Let's see. K-Mex McDonald sent $10. What did you think about the part where Nick Fuentes mentioned Europeans dying out and Piers asked him, have you ever had sex before? Do you both tend to be fine with Nick preaching that we need more white babies while not moving much on this goal himself?
Yeah, I mean, I'm of the opinion that people should fit into the movement where their abilities lie. And it should be kind of an organic thing. And he's right that if he had a wife and children, for them, this would be a nightmare. It would just be a nightmare. And he's doing the best he can, and he's celibate. And, I'm not going to come through the screen and like help him raise his kids. He's doing what he can for the movement. And nobody's going to do that, right?
What I want to know is from the Wignats that have a problem with this, like, where's the criticism of Hitler for not having kids and not getting married? I mean, And
the thing about the birth rate is it can turn around really quickly, and we're not under any moral obligation to outbreed our invaders.
But we are.
No, we can't outbreed our invaders because they're coming in and having 6 kids, and there are millions and millions and millions of them. Even if the white birth rate got to like 6 right now, I mean, it would be better for us.
Well, I guess when I say we are, I mean like in my church or whatever.
Yeah, Catholics are under moral obligation. But, I have 2 children. I get a lot of flack about that. And I feel, I'm 38. I'm like, if I have a child with a major disability or Down syndrome, are all you people going to come and fucking help me? Like, we have to allow some personal autonomy in major life decisions for people.
You need another kid.
Oh, my gosh.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Everyone's like, your son, your husband needs a son. I'm like, all right.
Yes, he does. He needs an heir. What are you talking about?
He will have a third daughter for sure. He'll have a third daughter. And what is he, Henry VIII? Okay.
Listen, we'll get your husband to talk with. Vince has like the formula because he had 2 girls.
You know how many times I've tried to have boys?
Have you tried the jackhammer yet?
Don't make me answer that, okay? Both of my girls were supposed to be boys.
You got to use gravity, okay? You got to use gravity.
Yes, I read all the studies. I did all the stuff, okay? I'm so happy with my girls. I'm not at all disappointed that they're boys. But once you have men with higher testosterone, like my husband, they have more daughters. And once you have 2 daughters,
is that true?
Yes. Once you have 2 daughters, the chance of your third child being a daughter is 70%.
Have you tried buying him some endocrine disrupting soap?
Oh, okay.
And then
I will have him use Dove on his balls.
There you go.
And then we'll try again so that I can have a female Down syndrome baby when I'm 40. That's awesome. Great plan, Wignats. Great fucking plan.
What's the jackhammer?
We'll have to bring Vince back on to explain it to everybody. Don't Google it.
I just want a diagram. That's all.
No. I can explain this in a way that's not tawdry. Okay. So male sperm,
you're not doing yourself any favors on this.
Not male sperm.
This is
you know what I mean?
This is do not pass go. Do not collect $5.
They swim faster. And they're a little more aggressive. They die faster, but they swim faster. So if you can catch if you don't have sex during your entire fertile window, but you catch those moments before ovulation, you have a higher chance of having a boy. Also, if you can
put the woman in the corner of the room on her head, and then
So also, there's a theory that if you penetrate more deeply. Okay, this tawdry thing,
okay. Gorilla
you mean like analytically? Yeah.
Gorilla Hand sent $10. Merry Christmas, everyone.
My parents watch this.
My parents watch this too. Oh, dear Lord. Okay, I think that gets us all caught up there. I'm going to go check.
I got some on my channel, too.
Yeah, please read the ones that you got on your channel.
Why don't you go to bed? Okay. It's been real. Thank you so much for your insightful commentary, as always. See you next Wednesday, Cam.
All right, folks. Have a good night.
Sleep tight.
Help us get to our goal. Give us some of that Christmas money.
No, No, everybody spend the money on your kids, please.
What are you talking about, Dave?
I mean, I don't know.
Okay, it is December.
I've got that one.
9th.
I got the Tomahawk. Oh, no. I haven't got. Tomahawk sent $10. Are you familiar with Matt Bracken? I think you would make a great guest if you could get him on the show. I've not heard of Matt Bracken, but if you send me a DM on Twitter with his @, I will take a look and we'll reach out and see what we can do.
Somebody said a Jeet lady had a child at 70. Yes, it was through IVF.
Mojack sent another $10. Oy vey, the Jews are perfect in every way. We must always remember the 600 gazillion that were gassed in the Holocaust. They are our greatest ally. Now waiting for my $7,000 check.
Yeah, really.
Somebody in Israel, please send Mojack $7,000.
And send us $7,000. That would go a long way.
Hey.
Wilfred P., the Finkelstein Soap and Lampshade Company. He also said,
bro,
should one day do a breakdown of the edited Benjamin Friedman speech. I haven't read that.
Oh, the Benjamin Friedman speech. That
been
is
a long
so good.
time.
That was one of my first red
pill moments.
Yeah.
I think the last time I listened to it was in 2017.
For me, it was, I remember where I was at the Hyatt in Kansas City at a conference in October of 2015. That was the first time that I heard that one.
We've been around for so long.
This Jewish guy that converted to Catholicism and then I think he spoke with Fulton Sheen and then came out and outed the whole thing. And he was like, this is what we're doing.
Yep.
Yeah, we're running your shit. And you guys got to wise up because,
he's a regular Bobby Fischer. That
great speech. What was the name of it again?
Benjamin Friedman.
Benjamin Friedman. Yeah.
I think it's from the 60s.
That's your homework. Go Google it. Yeah, I think 1964 around that time.
61.
Could be.
Sugar Flea, love your show. Listen to you at work. You guys give me existential dread and hope at the same time. Thank you for all you do. That is really what we're trying to do.
Scare the shit out of them and then give them hope.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the first year of a show, because we just hit a year, you're working out some growing pains. You're finding out how to interact with each other, and you're trying to find what the show is about. And we're still struggling with that a little bit. But I think that, Cameron has a tendency to give people a realistic perspective about what's going on. And it's sometimes very hopeful, and sometimes it's just devastating. Today, I'm going to go with devastating. That
good,
monologue
good motivation.
That monologue on the Cuban cabal.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that. And it's we're getting hit from all sides here.
Yeah, people don't know that there's more. I mean, the Qatari influence is true. That is real.
That's real.
We're dealing with, they're putting in a fucking airbase in Idaho. I don't want that. Nobody wants that in the state. So you have influence from Qatar, Israel, the Cubans. There's influence from the Russians. We saw Tenet Media and all that. So, we need Americans in control of America.
Okay, the Tenet Media thing was nothing. It wasn't actually
Huge
Russian influence.
Scandal, massive scandal, and everybody associated with it, or even 1 degree removed is suspect.
Okay, listen, I will puff up the Tenet Media scandal because it's a way to undercut Matt Christensen, but that's really the only reason. There was nothing there. There was nothing there. They've dropped all the charges. Everybody involved should be totally exonerated. He's a douchebag for other reasons, but it's not that.
Yeah, I don't know how we feel about Russian skinheads.
Somebody just said Tenet equals Matt is gay. Yes.
All right. Well, if that's it for you, I think that might be it for us.
I cut whole segments today. We're going to have to take Ukraine out of the title.
Let me just refresh.
Let me refresh too.
And make sure that we got it all.
Who's coming on Monday?
Well, actually, we got another super chat from Gorilla Hands.
Thank you.
$10. All hail Rebecca Chan, also Cameron and Riley. And it's spelled R-E-I-L-L-Y, by the way, not R-I-L-E-Y. What is this?
I'm sure they changed it at Ellis Island.
On Monday, we are going to be...
Dave O'Reilly.
We dropped the O.
Yeah.
We dropped the O. It's okay. We are going to be joined on Monday by the one and only DD Geopolitics, Sarah. She's going to be coming on. Potentially her co-host will be with her. I'm not sure. But we're going to be talking a lot about Candace Owens on Monday. We are going to expose the living crap out of her. We're going to eviscerate Candace Owens and her husband, George Farmer.
But what if
we are going to burn the bridge? We're going to burn the bridge.
And get some of that money.
No. We're going to burn the bridge, and we are going to pull all together. It's going to be us and DD Geopol and TP USA and Nick Fuentes all pulling pulling on the tug of rope against
the tug of rope. He says
whatever the tug of war. What war? It's the
end of the show. It's okay.
Don't
Try to find words.
We're gonna be all looking to put the nails in the coffin of Candace Owens' career, spreading harmful and dangerous misinformation that is ripping this country apart. Actually, it is a problem, and it doesn't seem like anybody else in the media is willing to do this.
I can't look away.
I mean, it's incredible, too. This kayfabe bullshit between Candace Owens and Michael Knowles and the Daily Wire. Do you people understand that Candace Owens and Michael Knowles go to the same mass together on Sunday? They see each other at mass, and then Candace goes off and does her show where she takes money given to her by the Mormons in southern Idaho to attack TPUSA. You know,
I don't know anything about this.
This whole thing, we've got the whole thing. There's a whole web that shows all of the, the intricate dealings between Milo and Peter Thiel, the Daily Wire, Rebecca Mercer, George Farmer, the whole thing. We're going to
That is so spurgy, and I'm here for it.
We are going to go all out on Monday, and we might even have to, because I think we might be streaming at the same time as the TPUSA stream, which is going to be like breaking the internet on, what day is that? The 15th or whatever? I don't know. So anyway, DDGOPO will be on, so that'll be good. Just got a big super chat from Paulie B. Paulie B. Hey, thank you, Paulie. Love it. I heard that always stolen from Matt Christensen, Blonde. Just giving y'all a Christmas gift as an appreciative patron.
I actually have stolen a few things from the show. So
always,
you take what you learn from previous career experiences and apply to them. I just can't stop. So like some of our outline stuff I got from the old show, and then some of the intro stuff. Your favorite podcast. I can't help myself.
That's so funny. We got another super chat from Zio who sent us $12. As a Jew, I find you three amusing. Here is $12.
As much as I
this is great.
Make blanket statements about Jews, I stand by everything I said. I do appreciate when someone is able to not be personally offended.
Yeah.
By the stuff.
No, I love Jews with thick skins. You can make fun of them to their face.
Yeah.
And when it's funny, they laugh. I mean, like some of the worst Holocaust jokes that I've ever heard were told to me by Jewish people.
I mean,
so,
let's
be honest about
trust
this.
you.
No, of course not.
Of course not.
But
I do appreciate the donuts.
Listen, the soup, the matzah soup,
it's the best.
Not bad, and the bagels.
I like
I'm
Jewish
going to be
bagels.
bringing. By the way, I'm going to the and this is perfect as we're closing up. I'm going to be going to the Antelope Hill Book Publishing Christmas party this weekend, and so I'm going to be going out of my way to get like a dozen bagels, freeze them, and bring them back with me on the plane.
Oh, then
do you want me to bring you bagels too?
Hell yes.
All right, everything sesame seed.
I like an everything
seed.
bagel.
I like
do.
everything bagels,
and then I
too.
like to make my own veggie cream cheese. Got to have broccoli in there.
Very good. But yeah, we've got to give a big shout out to Antelope Hill Publishing. They are fighting to keep history alive against a regime of anti-white censorship. That's the old script, but I haven't memorized. They are equipping new generations of dissidents with the information to fight the anti-white regime. Their varied catalog includes a newly updated and expanded third edition of Kevin MacDonald's Culture of Critique, the essential modern text on Jewish identity, Dr. Ricardo Duchesne's magnum opus Greatness and Ruin, and the definitive scholarly examination of European exceptionalism, as well as works by Kerry Bolton, Paul Kersey, and Josh Neal. Antelope Hill recently brought David Irving's iconic Nuremberg the Last Battle back into print and have numerous translations of historical works from eras such as Fascist Italy, National Socialist Germany, and Civil War Spain, previously unavailable in English. There are also plenty of books on contemporary issues such as transgenderism, the opioid crisis, and Christian nationalism, as well as history books, novels, and children's books. So whatever your interest is, you're bound to find books that you like at Antelope Hill, all professionally published and with sleek modern cover art. Help us and help our people by checking out companies that share our values and fight for our cause. Visit antelopehillpublishing.com and use promo code BACKLASH10 for a 10% discount on anything you buy.
Locks.
Yeah.
Lock keys.
Oh, no.
Challah bread, brisket.
No. The latkes are okay. Brisket's okay. Corned beef on rye.
I don't like rye bread.
Bro, I remember. See, Carnegie Deli doesn't exist anymore, but when it did, I used to go to New York all the time as a kid, and like I remember one time, me and my dad were in New York, it's like, you want to go to Carnegie Deli? It's like, yeah. And so I think we were on our way to a taping of Conan O'Brien because I used to get tickets to go see Conan O'Brien like all the time. I played with the Max Weinberg band once back in the day. I need to see if I can find the clip of that or whatever. They actually brought me on stage at Conan O'Brien and I played the drums with the Max Weinberg band. But anyway, it was on that trip. We went to the Carnegie Deli and we both got corned beef on rye sandwiches. And the amount of meat that they gave you. I mean, the sandwich, you couldn't even pick it up. They would bring you a bag of rye bread to your table so you could make more sandwiches to actually eat it because it was impossible to open your mouth big enough to actually eat what they served you.
Oh, man.
So, I mean,
it's like all cultures that I despise. I appreciate their food offerings.
It's true.
Like we dump on Sheets all the time. There is nothing I love more than a fine Indian meal.
Curry fries.
What? That's not Indian.
No, it's Irish.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Did that happen before or after they came to Ireland? Were they like doing the curry fry thing while...
I bet after.
Yeah, I bet too.
The Irish are like, I'll eat this if you put some potatoes in it. They do cook. Indians cook a lot with potatoes.
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
I'm sure that's what you guys wanted to hear us talk about. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you on Monday and on Wednesday. I don't think we're taking any breaks.
No more breaks.
No more breaks.
No more breaks. Unless people want to go on like a pilgrimage to Quito, Ecuador with me in late January, early February. If you want to, send me an email at info@thebacklash.net. I want to gauge if there are people, because, there might be some like older people that have time to do that, and I'll go. That'd be fun. But if not, then I'll skip it and we'll just make content.
Dave loves to hang out with strangers.
It's weird. It's fun.
That's a good quality in a human being.
Yeah.
Because at your party, I was like, I don't know
anybody.
This is a social nightmare for me.
Well, that's the whole point, is to bring new people together and introduce one another and build things, build social networks, build social capital.
Hi, my name's Sarah. I have 12 children. I'm like, what? Every single person I met, these are my 7 children.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, by the way, the Christmas party was amazing.
There were a lot of kids here.
Yeah, there were more kids than adults.
Like, where are your kids?
And it's like, we're all worried about like the future. And it's like, like, look at all these kids. They're all going to be 18.
It was like 3 to 1 ratio of kids to adults. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you. Find all of our links at thebacklash.net. Not yet. Did I just have a stroke? Thebacklash.net. We will see you on Monday. Bye.